Let's ride!
Hello and welcome out to this week's episode of the Gamers Council podcast. I'm your host, WebDave, along with my co-host, the one and only, we missed him last week guy. That's right, Hargeet Chani. Hargeet, how you doing, friend? How are you?
I'm doing. Yeah, it's busy, but doing.
There you go. Let me see if I can remove the topping point box without throwing myself into the background. Hey, I did it without killing the show. There we go. Hey, the Mav's got himself turned around. I like it. And of course, we have the one and only Mr. Fun himself, Fun Speculation, Mav. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man. Always fun to be on a WebDave show. So looking forward to hanging out, talking about all this craziness going on in the gaming industry. Got Hargeet here as usual as well. So looking forward to it, man. Thanks for having me. Something happened, just a little bit of things. Not nothing too big. Hargeet.
Yeah.
Usual.
Well, I guess, we'll
slow news week.
We'll try and get into some of it. We'll see if we can make anything out of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So, wow, we already have 70 people here. Now 75. Okay, now 80. Thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it greatly. It is awesome to have you here. And it looks like Lotus Esprit is already up to his own antics, which is nice. We appreciate that very much.
Yes, thank you for that. Lotus Esprit gifts 5 and then follows up with 20 WebDave memberships.
Nice.
What does that add up to, kids?
25.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Wow. Math is hard.
Hardly.
Hard. There we go. So for you guys, the background of our image, in preview mode for me, it is like freezing up. Is it still going good for you guys?
It's good for me.
All right. So if everything looks good for you guys, and if it starts to freeze up for you guys, let me know. I'm just gonna let it go. But it's just driving me crazy because it looks like all messed up. Oh, then we got more stuff.
And we got another one. FARK QUE gets 5 WebDave memberships.
FARK QUE. I had to say that. I had to. So yeah.
And from Serve, we get the Genius 2 + 2 = 5.
It does in some cases, that's for sure.
It does in the games media, that's for sure. That's how they do their math. Absolutely.
They do. Boy, we're going to get into all that kind of stuff tonight. Guys, so Hargeet wasn't here last week, and we want to kind of take a step back to some of the bigger pictures and bigger topic, because it's definitely something I think all of us have kind of talked about it a little bit, but we're really going to get into it tonight. I know that the guys at gifted membership again there, Hargeet.
A FARK QUE alias Bram Stroker has gifted 5 WebDave memberships.
Hey, thanks, Stroker Ace. We appreciate you there, buddy. Anyway, but I digress. But anyway, a lot of big topics going on in the game industry, and not quite the doom and gloom that a lot of people were talking about. So, kind of makes you go, a little bit. Brand box. Oh goodness, yes, they're all over the place. Yeah. So you're innocent. You, my friend, are far from innocent with anything, including your thumbnails. But that's okay. We appreciate that. He's a good raider though. That's for sure. Mav, you still playing Arc Raiders any?
Yeah. This past week I haven't been as much. My wife's been playing more, and she's been collecting some of the stuff for both of us that we need for doing some of the challenges and stuff. But I've been playing quite a bit still before this past week. But this last week I've been playing a lot of Diablo and NCAA, or sorry, College Football 27 came out, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. So this past week I've been kind of like away from Arc Raiders a little bit while she's carrying the weight for both of us, which is awesome. And gotta say, I mean, I'm kind of living the high life with gaming subscriptions right now, because EA Play Pro on PC is able to get College Football 27. I know I got Madden coming out. The Star Wars Zero company's coming out soon, so I get to play all of those the next couple months. And then for Ubisoft Plus Premium, I get Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. I think Rayman Legends Retold comes out soon as well. And then for Game Pass, we're cooking there. It's got Halo coming soon, and then Resonance Plague Tale, and we got Beast of Reincarnation coming soon. Gears. Yeah, I mean, gotta love gaming subscriptions right now, man. I'm saving so much money, dude.
Yep.
It's amazing. Love it.
I agree with you. It's definitely worth doing that. Oh goodness, more gifted memberships.
Dave gifts 10 WebDave memberships.
Thank you, Dave Reezy. We appreciate that. We appreciate all of the gifted memberships. My God, you guys are amazing. If you want your own gifted membership, if you didn't get gifted one, you definitely can join the channel if you want to. It is only $1. That's it. That's all. Is all we have our gifted memberships at, and you get access to all kinds of cool emojis. So there's tons of them there. So Mav, make sure you tell Caitlin we said hello.
Dave says hi.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear her or not, but she said
That's cool. Now you guys are a power couple, man, and it's always a pleasure watching you, and it's always good to have I guess a spouse that supports you in your endeavors, because that's awesome. So my wife is not quite the gamer that I am, but she has her own hobbies, and I support her in what she does, so she supports me in this. So it's pretty cool. Hargeet, you look like you're ready, starting to jump at the bit, ready for this. Let's pull it up, and I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you break this down. And you just let me know when you need me to scroll and what exactly we're looking at. And
at P_lump celebrates 18 months of membership. Stop the madness, play my theme song, we outside, shout out to the chat and everybody want to panel.
TTS is working.
It worked.
Yay.
It worked, man. We haven't had it working for a month, so pretty awesome. All right, so with that, I'm gonna play P-Lump's theme song.
They see me rolling.
Watch him rolling, watch him go, watch him rolling, watch him go. He be rolling down the street, he be rolling to the beat.
Boom shakalaka. All right. Woo. All right. So we're back, baby. Yes.
All right.
So that, I guess that was
the first
along.
big topic here, I guess, and that is on Monday. After all the massive rumors of what was going to happen with the big Xbox reset, it came. Oh, look, we got another one.
Yep.
I think not, young men. We need an encore.
All right, I'll play it for you one more time, and then we're going to go on with the show, P-Lump. This is the last time for a while. Thank you, P-Lump. We appreciate you.
They see me rolling.
Watch him rollin', watch him go, watch him rollin', watch him go. He be rollin' down the street, he be rollin' to the beat.
That's right. We get to meet P-Lump in person at FanFest, which was really
Yeah,
fun.
we did.
All right, so let's get into it.
So the Xbox reset has begun, and part of that is a change up in the studio mix. There's a lot of details in here that kind of go into why that was needed, how they got to where they are, and we'll just get into it as we read through it. Oh,
And
here we
make sure
go.
you wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, P-Love. That's right. It was your birthday as well.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
There you go.
All right. So Asha put this out. Team, we are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, have made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout FY27. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today. And in addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to new management. I recognize that a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it is not possible to make all the necessary changes in a single day, and I wanted to be direct about the scale. I know this is painful. These changes will directly affect people who have poured their creativity into building Xbox. Many joined us through acquisitions, while others were recruited here or sought us out because they loved this industry and loved Xbox. Today's decisions do not reflect their talent or dedication. Our business today is not healthy. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. We entered Gen 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. As that happened, our core business weakened, and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in its history. We must reset Xbox. So we'll just start in the preamble, and we can go into the first, second, third stuff that she goes into.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I guess Mav, you can kind of give your thoughts on what you think about the beginning of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear and direct. Except for one thing is the whole idea of like what the numbers the 3,200 includes. Does that include, because of the wording, the studio splitting off, right? Is that part of the grander 3,200 number or not? I think it's a little unclear there. However, besides that, it's just talking about, hey, this is what it is today. And it sucks, but this is what we got to do, and here's the reasons why. So, it's not a bunch of sunshine and rainbows kind of, it's a little PR speaky, but not so much as we would have had during the last leadership, I believe. This is a little bit more of like, hey, this is the reality we're facing. Here's what we got to do, So I appreciate the candidness within that alone. And I think about some of the most important stuff is stuff we can kind of dive into, the decisions that matches a lot of what she said in the last blog post entitled Xbox Reset. Kind of gives us a clear sense of the idea behind the direction they're going. So, yeah, and with that, changes are necessary. This is Asha Sharma's Xbox now. This is not Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond's Xbox anymore. And no matter how we feel, whether we like the previous leadership that lasted so long, whether some people don't like them, whatever, it does really any of that's irrelevant at this point, because there is a new future. And this reset, I think, as opposed to past layoffs and cuts, were only done just pure numbers perspective about having to try and narrow things down to make what their system was working. This reset is about changing the system. And there's a lot of language that we're going to get into here that's very specific about what those changes are. And this is why this one sits a little differently even than last year's, because last year's felt like almost like a desperation kind of like we got to trim down to make this work kind of thing. And despite everything we said, hey, we're celebrating this, we're celebrating that. Oh, and here's the layoffs, right? Where this is like, hey, look at it. This is what it is. We're this new direction, new leadership now. We're making these changes, and in order to do this, we got to reallocate resources, and so therefore we are making these moves. So the language that we're going to get into here is very purposeful about what changes are going to be made. The shocking thing is how easy it was for us to speculate upon what these changes were going to be after the last blog post and get so many of these things right, as opposed to the games media that was jumping to every possible conclusion under the sun. And it's almost like, oh my gosh, were they all surprised or talking about a restructure and a reset when they pretty much told us that exactly was going to happen? They told us this right after the summer showcase. They told us this was coming. Layoffs had been anticipated and rumored to be coming down from Microsoft overall, and that Xbox is going to be a big part of it since last year. Everybody knew this was coming in July. But the last 2 weeks or so leading up to this, the games media is like, oh, they're in chaos. It's a shit show right now. All of this. This studio is going to get shuttered. This studio is going to get shuttered. This studio, I'm hearing this studio. They're possibly considering this studio and all this stuff, leading to insane conversations. And as far as to say that Xbox should get out of hardware completely from some that have very large platforms in the gaming space, jumping to massive places that are horrible for gamers and also would doom Xbox completely. And this is what the games media and everybody has actually wanted. They were trying to stockpile on this. They're trying to jump in. Hey, they're about to be down, right? They're trying to make Gears exclusive now. Let's let them know how we feel, right? And they're trying to dogpile on the situation leading up to it and running interference for other companies. And I've been trying to make it a mission for me not to allow that to happen, right? Like, we can't just like let games media only keep focusing on one platform all the time because it drives their clicks and their algorithm. Making articles about games leaving Game Pass and stuff like that. At the same time, the PlayStation ends physical media like forever on their platform. And it's like just weird. And you see the Xbox tax and everything has been never more visible than in the last 2 weeks. While there's definite things to talk about, definite things that is a massive cause for conversation, as we've been talking about this for weeks, the jumping to conclusions and to act like they're no different of a business than any of the other businesses trying to operate in this space and make changes when they see they need to make changes has been completely asinine from them. So I appreciate the candidness in here, and in a way, the candidness kind of shuts up all that noise, right? It says why they're doing what they're doing and that they are still going to be here.
All right, you want me to read that one? Dark Zone?
Yeah.
We are witness the resurrection of Xbox and the death of PlayStation. Well, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I think the beginning of this kind of sets the tone. 3,200 people will be let go. And I, like you, Matt, I don't know what if I had to guess, I'd say that the first 1,600 are employees that are eliminated now. And then the studios aren't done yet. So therefore they would be part of the second half, because
that's what I read too, Hargeet.
Yeah, because it's not possible to just jettison, right, and then sell and all that, because that just takes time. It'll probably be 3 to 6 months of legal paperwork, frameworks to get them on their own systems and whatever, right? It's just unlikely that happens within a day, right? So I think reading in her thing here, I think a bunch of this comes in from the studio's departure. And then as games finish over the year, they will evaluate and see what happens next, right? So there will probably be other studios that have to kind of deal with this as well, depending on how they've been, as far as how they've been impacting the business, right? So, but yeah, so that's kind of where it is. The three things she mentions though are interesting. We bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. This one hits on broader portfolio of content, but then you might want to like expect something about Game Pass and multi-platform going forward as well. We already have hints of the multi-platform thing changing, right? That there's probably going to be more exclusivity of content, not from PC, but from other console platforms. So that's kind of in the works, but we don't have a full vision yet. But we hear rumors. Right? But once they solidify, we'll see what happens there, and then how Game Pass will continue. Right? We will see what changes come in with that. How do they want to expand that, or do they want to, get rid of it or change it? I don't know, whatever. But she's going to have her vision of Game Pass at some point, and we will see what that means. But I think those are interesting call outs, right? That this was the direction, this was the vision of the previous, leadership, and that is being sunset, and we're going to change that. And here's what it's going to change to, right? So now we'll get into the next part. So first, we will reset our content portfolio. Since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio, while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios. It is neither possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. We have also learned that we are not the best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP, catalog, and runway for their next games. Those are great words, but we'll get into those. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. In France, Arcane's management is beginning required consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. We are also making reductions across other units, and in some cases, shifting investment to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of our first-party publicly announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reductions. So, great words there. I'll add the last couple of bits before we get to part two. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These two studios have increasingly become platforms and are our largest bi-monthly active players. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. I don't know if there's more beyond that.
Yeah, that and then goes into the second thing is what she says.
Right? Yep. Yep.
So,
Okay. So Matt, I'll give you the floor. What do you think about the first?
No studio closures. I mean, that's it. Like, I mean, it's a lot easier just to shut them down, you know? I don't think Asha wanted her start of her legacy to be shutting down legendary game studios like Double Fine, Ninja Theory, stuff like that. I think also like PR wise, it would be even worse than what Xbox has to deal with on a day-to-day basis from the games media. So I think whatever the motives is or anything like that, just like doing whatever you can to salvage the studios, despite the extra efforts, despite the extra cost involved with any of that, possibly. Meanwhile, maintaining the games that were announced to the fans, and also giving runway to those developers to be able to start their next projects, the ones that just released their games. I think it has a lot of merit to it, man. Like, I really do. Like, for anybody that's like, oh, how is it not worse than shutting a studio down? Because the studios that get shut down don't even have a chance now.
Right.
Like they never have a chance to rebuild. They never have a chance to make their next thing. They never have a chance to make a hit. They never have a chance to do anything. They're just gone. And studios, for me, each have this like unique, unique signature, unique identity with whatever kind of games they make. It's like this kind of studio makes this game. You can kind of tell that it's a game made by that studio. You know what I mean? And when you lose studios, you lose that. And that's what's sad most for me when studios shut down is we never get to see their unique identity in the gaming space anymore. And instead we have to look forward to, you know, whatever the next studio they start is and hope they can capture the same magic that their former studios had and all this other kind of stuff. We see that all the time, like, oh, let's see the Left 4 Dead. What was the Left 4 Dead studio that, they went on to make the whole Left 4 Dead like game that was in Game Pass? I can't remember the name of the game, but like the game was good, but it still didn't capture the heart of Left 4 Dead, even though it's a lot of the same team, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of that happens in the space where it's like, oh, developers made up of former blah 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 blah, And
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow, cool. It's gonna be like that, but it doesn't necessarily always work out. Back for Blood, thanks, Steph Leopard. Yep. And
Sure.
like we see that with Embark, it worked for them, the former DICE devs, right? And I think Embark now has their own unique signature and identity. Maybe it'll work for Maverick Games, former devs from Playground, when Clutch comes out. We'll have to wait and see how that game is, right? So you see all these studios form, but you don't never necessarily have the same sauce, the same essence, the same signature that the original studios had. So the biggest win for me coming out of all of this was as a gamer, not losing studios that can make games, right? And then secondly, the games I was looking forward to that were publicly announced not being canceled. So I'm glad they're getting to live on.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like there was a lot of doom and gloom, and like it just seemed like there was no potential for any of this stuff. I was hoping that Asha would read the room and work a deal, right? Because, like you said, Mav, if they shut down some of these studios, man, the PR mess they'd be in. I mean, not that there isn't already an Xbox tax anyway, right? It would just get compounded to such high level. They found a way. They found a way. Compare that to what other platforms and other publishers have done, where they shut them down.
Mhm.
That's it. Goodbye. They're all laid off. Go away. We're not looking at this stuff anymore. Whatever. Right? They didn't. They found a way to keep all of these studios alive. Even further, giving them funding to continue the games that they had made with them, right? So they had already put them and greenlit certain games with these studios. They're all going to end up being made. That is crazy. That like all the stuff that we thought was going to happen, all these games were going to go away. That like we're never going to see. No, in fact, everything announced, which by the way includes Blade, is coming. They're going to fund it, and that's an insane thing. Unless Arcane is not being divested and they decide to cancel that and then put Arcane on something else. But it seems to me like Arcane's going to be divested as well, right? But that's why they're working that process. But yeah, that's pretty cool that we saw State of Decay, we saw Senua. Both of those are going to be finished. Whatever Compulsion's already started working on, which will probably be years away, they're going to get to do that game. And then Double Fine, whatever they've been working on, they have a mainline game. I just don't know what it is, but they've been working a mainline game that will also be completed. My guess would be this is still going to be published through Xbox or whatever, right? Because they're still funding the game, giving them runway for it, which means I'm sure they're giving them money. So for Compulsion and Double Fine, they're probably still going to help them publish the game. I don't know what happens with Senua and State of Decay 3. Ninja Theory and the labs are being sold to somebody. They may want to take the publishing rights with them. I don't know if that means the IP stays or not, because with Double Fine and Compulsion, they get to take their catalog with them. I don't see that same wording here for Ninja Theory and Undead Labs, but they may be taking some of their stuff with them, right? So we will see. But I like, ultimately, this seems like the best case scenario in a crap, situation, right? Like, you're going to get rid of something, it's not shutting down. They're all going to just go. Now, whether they have any downsizing or anything because of that, that's on them, right? They are not touching them. They're saying, you go as is, and we will give you enough to keep the games that we worked with you on. We'll let those finish, right? And then from there, do whatever you want, right? We're out. I can't see it being any better than that. Like, this was like a phew, like like you didn't fumble it. You just didn't, because this could have been the biggest rake step.
Yep.
If you shut down some of these studios, right? And it's like, no, the absolute opposite. They gave them the best possible outcome, right? Now, part of this is looking at the output that they had and what the old ideology was, what the old vision was, which was, again, Game Pass content, broad content, right? And then eventually multi-plat. In that mode, what they were told to do, they did, right? And that has changed now. And it's fair that obviously things didn't work that way. It was kind of stalled, and so they needed to change, and so things are changing. But what didn't happen was they got punished for what they were told they could do. Right. And so I like, this is ultimately, I'm surprised they managed to pull it off, but thank goodness, right? Like, this is this was like the most unbelievable thing to see, is like, what, you closed nothing. Wow. Like, holy crap, you managed to do what nobody thought was going to be possible. Even I thought Compulsion, I don't think they're going to be up. I think they're going to be gone. Right. No, even Compulsion, they managed to keep up and running. Like, yep, you can go independent. Wow. And take your games with you. Fair enough. Like, wow, that is I don't know how they pulled it off, but they did. And kudos to Asha and team for figuring out a way to do this. The other big announcement here, King and Mojang are being taken away from the normal content, from Matt Booty's world, and going directly to Asha. I think there are key reasons why that's happening. First, I don't know if they detailed that here or elsewhere, but Mojang Minecraft has been kind of the pillar that has been funding a lot of the other stuff they've been doing in the Xbox Game Studios.
Right.
King has also been funding a lot of the missteps in other arenas. However, Activision Blizzard King generally tends to be pretty profitable. So it's usually not a big deal, but King just brings in a ton of money and can make you overlook the deficiencies that maybe other games and IPs are having, because it'll make up the difference. I think because they're also massive, right? So she also details how she wants to get to 1 billion monthly daily active players, right? Daily active engagements. To get there, these are the two big vehicles, right? Of all their active users, engagements, whatever, sales, King and Minecraft, so Candy Crush and Minecraft are their big chunk, right? The like, out of the 500 million they have, they're probably 90% of it.
At Danny
they're
celebrates 11 months of membership.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you very much, Danny. Yeah, so that's really interesting that she wants to focus on those. So if I had to guess, I'd say that this is them saying, Matt Ball saying, hey, you know what? I need to look at these two and how I can invest their money, their returns back into them, and make sure that Minecraft doesn't fail, doesn't start floundering, right? Let's give them the runway to grow. Same with King. How do we grow that business even more, right? We have the top game publisher on the mobile side with King. How do we make it bigger, right? And I think that's a very important thing to do when you want to grow your audience. When you have these two things, to just not say, all right, just status quo, stay as is, because that will kill it, right? And I think they're recognizing, no, wait, hold on. It's nice that we can, make the other studios stay alive because we have Minecraft giving them all the funding. Maybe we should be looking at Minecraft's funding going back to Minecraft and seeing how we expand that, right? So I'm guessing that's why she's taking those, right? And saying, no, I want them in my arena directly. I'm going to work on these two. And to me, that sounds like, hey, we got another one coming in.
The coalition was told the same, and D-Day looks fire emoji.
It does.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be them focusing. Matthew Ball, take these two. I want to see in 3 years, these guys are hitting, an extra 50%, extra 30%, whatever it is, right? I want to get to that next big milestone. How do we get there, right? So, and not have it be diluted as part of just the normal content, pipeline that they have with the rest of the studios. So I think this is a strategically very interesting thing to do. I'm hoping it does work out for them. I think it's a good idea. It also takes away the crutch. You can't just bank on Minecraft now if you're on the Xbox Studios side to say, oh, well, I can't just use their money. Oh, hold on a second. Because ultimately, your division always said, well, we made X amount of money. Granted, it was mostly Minecraft. But hey, we made X amount of money. Well, you don't have that anymore. That crutch is gone. And so I think she's going to look at that strategically with Matthew Ball. That's my guess. But that's a pretty big change. So yeah, these are very interesting thoughts. The cuts are pretty much broad-based, and a lot of it, I think we get more information from other sources as we start getting into some other information. But we can go into the second piece, and I'll kind of
let me
get to those other things later.
Right before we go to the
Go
second
ahead.
part, I wanted to bring up because it kind of touched on that some of the job losses. Whoops, hold on one second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Sounds like a fun ringtone.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know what he wanted to go into, but there are like other pieces of news that came out that kind of hint as to why we have the reduction. Which I don't know if she went into that in this. I'm just gonna
I think like Hargeet too, if they're changing their structure, if they're changing their structure on how each studio is going to have to hold their own and be accountable for their own profit and loss, and not just be fed into this larger Game Pass machine kind of system that they had going on, then at that time, these cuts make a lot more sense too, to give these studios a chance, because there was a lot of bloat and hiring that had been going on for a long time right after the acquisitions were made. So and it just wasn't realistic for them to have this size teams in this day and age with this many games that exist and come out for them to even have a chance to actually meet their marks. So as cold and calculated as it may seem, like having
it's not, and
reduced
the next
studio
part
size
does go
is
into
more
what
feasible.
Yeah, the next part does go into the thing. So if you go back, the next part does, and we'll come back to the it thing, which is important as well.
Okay,
but
so
the next part does go into it.
Yep. Let me go.
Which is, yep.
So you don't mean to read the it part? You mean go back to this, right?
No. Well, let's go back to exactly. Let's go back to this and let's go to the second part, which goes exactly into what I was talking about. So let's start on the second, which is we will reset our platform. We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation, even as our player base and playtime have declined. That complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability, and made it harder to deliver for players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. We will reduce management layers to no more than 5, and where possible 3. We will deliver success through a flatter organization that is built around makers, individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved in the work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals who own key decisions and outcomes. And we will streamline how we work across our tools with a cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend. So I'll give it to you, Matt. Go ahead, and what do you think about that part?
Yeah, I mean, this is all going into the grander scheme of things about why, and how they're restructuring and how they're resetting it. They're changing the whole studio culture and the way they operate financially within the entire ecosystem. It's less of a, all just pour as much into Game Pass and hope we get the numbers that's going to offset the costs and be profitable, which was working for a while. After ABK, after probably the subsidies on the consoles and the hardware ended up going up, and the lack of growth in the console space, it ended up kind of flattening out their numbers. Meanwhile, the cost kept going up. So when their numbers flatlined and their costs kept going up, you saw the content and services actual amount of revenue go down a little bit, and year over year after the success of Black Ops 6, and then the lack of success of Black Ops 7 especially, and then losing millions of subs after the price hike didn't help anything either. And it felt like maybe last year they were just throwing desperation attempts to try and save the model, right? And it just didn't end up working out for them. And this is now the kind of rent is due moment, right? This is the moment where it's like, okay, so we've been doing this for whatever reasons the last couple years. Things went sideways, and we tried to throw stuff at it to fix it, see what we could do to salvage everything. Didn't work. Now we're in the process of new leadership, assess everything, see what changes we need to make to have a return to success and growth in the ecosystem. And here's the exact things we're looking at doing. Way too many middlemen, politics, going back and forth, competing over decisions, slowing processes down. We're going to get rid of a lot of that. We're going to have more of a hands-on approach with the development processes that go on. We're going to be sharing more between the studios, except for money. You're
Mhm.
sharing less money, but you're sharing ideas. You're helping each other more, and we're got to speed up the development. Right, we got to speed up the process of making these games, because we can't spend 6, 7, 8 years to make a game that has very little audience. And us going after those kind of games right now is not necessarily in the best interest of Xbox or our studios. And so we're kind to not necessarily 100% just dictate what you make, but we're going to be a lot more specific and choosy on the projects that we are going to allow you to make, because we can't just do these little passion projects that you just get to basically, you know, funnel your dreams into, and just be happy go lucky studio playing ping pong all the time, making, stuff like Pentiment and stuff like that. It just ain't gonna work out for us this way. So yeah, there's more accountability within this system. It sounds a lot more like a traditional model, but I also think there is aspects to this where she's looked at things from the east to see how they're able to get games out so fast, like studios maybe like RGG and stuff like that, like get these content pipelines going, and also maybe looked at the ABK side, right? These guys are pumping out a Call of Duty every year. Yeah, some of 'em are bigger than others, some of them are more of a hit than others, right? But how can we kind of bring this um, uh, way that we can pump big games out? And I'm not saying you're going to get a Halo every single year or you're going to get whatever, but you're probably maybe going to get a big game from a major franchise every single year now, with the way that they're thinking with this process of kind of having, hey, you're going to be leading your games, but there's also going to be more of a shared approach across the board with assist and all that kind of stuff too. So I like it, man. The ideas behind it. At the end of the day, we're going to see how it plays out and how this all works. Um, right now, this all reads like we're building into bigger franchises. We're restructuring our studios. and that's just what it's going to be. And the moves that we made here are to help us have the most success possible within that.
Yeah. So a lot of what you said, basically that, and it reminds me a lot of Netflix, right? Netflix started doing their own stuff at some point, and they just said, "Yep, you can do that. Yep, you can do that. Yep, you can do that. Yep, you can do that," and kept growing and growing and growing. And at some point, had a reckoning and saying, "Yeah, but we said yes to something that nobody ever watched. That didn't really help us." So the 40% larger than the start of the generation is investing in the current studios to grow so that they could make content that might look better, feel more AA, AAA, whatever you want to call it. And then also to allow them to take on newer projects like within the same studio, multiple teams working on other projects. And essentially some of that was just floundering and it wasn't working. And, unless the project is going to have a realistic chance of bringing engagement, I think Asha is saying at this point, we kind of need to let that kind of mentality go and look at stuff that's going to draw players into the platform, into Game Pass, into whatever, right? And I think that's kind of where this reset is going, right? So, some of the studios that were making smaller games, they're just going away, right? The other ones are going to focus on IP that is in demand, right? That doesn't mean there isn't new stuff, right? So you say something like Pentiment. Pentiment was made by a handful of people, right?
Mhm.
What is the budget on Pentiment? Okay, if it's small enough, but that same studio is delivering, say a Fallout game. Cool. Fallout shelters you enough to say, go ahead, make that. And you want to spend 1% of your budget on this. Okay, fine. Right. But I want that big anchor, right? That's going to guarantee me an X number of million players are going to play this. Right. So I think that's where they're looking to say, like, you need to deliver this. I don't think they're going away from new stuff. I think they're going to say, if you want to make something new, small. Grounded's a perfect example of like what you do. Small team. Does it work? Did it work? It worked. Okay, cool. Let's get a second one, right? That one will continue because there's an audience and they're able to actually maintain an audience, right? So that's good. That creates engagement. Perfect. But if you're going to say that I'm going to make Pentiment and then nobody played it, maybe there's like no Pentiment 2, which is disappointing, I guess, but at least you had the chance. The budget was small. It didn't hurt them, right? Whereas if you look at the other numbers that they said, 64 cents for every dollar invested, right? That's not good. That's not good. If you are spending, and 2/3 of your spend is wasted, that's not a good place to be, right? So, if they're gonna invest that kind of money in a compulsion and the return is just not there, that's where they're saying it wasn't worth it, right? Now, from the previous vision, it was worth it. It was just get content out, just like Netflix. Yep, you're greenlit. You're greenlit. You're greenlit. You're ready to go. Whatever, right? And then they're like, yeah, that's not a good enough idea. That wasn't good. That didn't work. We need to vet these things a bit more. Make sure that there's an audience for this, right? Which is more of what is going to happen, right? So I think that's basically what they're doing here. So don't think of the 3200 as just like a blind whatever. It's to say, look, we purposefully hired more in all of these studios to allow you to make more stuff for Game Pass. It's just not working. So if you're not going to come to me with like, hey, I'm making this massive IP that I know is going to bring a meaningful engagement to the platform or Game Pass, I don't want to hear about it right now, because we need to get to a point where we're solid. Like you said, Mav, there's going to be a major game every year. Yeah, they want that. They want something that's going to attract you to Xbox every year, whether it's 1 or 2, right? They want a massive franchise every year, right? And that only happens if you focus on that and you say, no, you know what? It's nice that you want to make this XYZ game. I have this IP that's sitting here, hasn't been made in like 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. I want that. Can you make that, right? I
Mhm.
think that's what they're going to look at. And I think that's a good thing. You want to have some of your core studios making games that people really want to go after. However, you don't want new things, which was also an interesting thing because we didn't hear from another studio here. Elsewhere is still around. And Elsewhere, for those who don't remember, is a brand new studio created by Activision a couple of years ago. It's based in Poland, and it is supposed to focus on an open world RPG, new IP. So they haven't touched it. So that means I'm hoping that means that studio is going to keep going, and we're going to see a new IP, a new game, right? That doesn't mean they can flounder. They're still going to be under the gun to actually deliver milestones. But that does say that they're still going to invest in some large new IP. That's good, right? But there will be a lot more focus on the meat and potatoes games that they have, the IP they have, and making sure that those are actually coming out at a high enough quality to meet the market's demand. And that is kind of what she's saying here. The 40% growth is going to be rescinded because it didn't result in 40% increase in revenue. It didn't actually help the bottom line. What we did instead hurt the bottom line. And so we're not getting what we want out of it. So we're going to change course. And that's where a lot of this is going to happen, where you're going to see a lot of this 3,200 cut. Some of it is the studios are jettisoned. Some of it's going to be, hey, we expanded this team and that team. You brought up id, for instance. They expanded id. They doubled it. And then said, hey, your next game, the one under us, didn't even meet the quality bar of the previous two, which were both Game of the Year nominees. What happened? We doubled you. We didn't get the revenue. We didn't get the quality. Is that worth it then? Right? And so I think that's basically what they're outlining here in this part. So, all right, now on to the third. We are resetting how we operate. As Xbox grew our headcount, we became more fragmented. Teams. I have to mention this thing that was in the second part too. 14 layers of management. Not everything had 14 layers of management, but that is just an insane amount of overhead. And a lot of that just delays every decision. But here's the other part that, internally, this is stuff that we've heard about that hasn't been like nobody's really talked about it because it was internal information. But let's say you wanted to make, I don't know, the OG Xbox or 360 Xbox Halo maps, right? From Halo 1, 2, and 3, right? And you're like, Halo Infinite should have those maps. Somebody would go work on it. And then somebody else in a different team would say, why are you working on that? You should be working on this. Like, but I was told by that person to go do this. Oh, well then a third person comes along and says, you're too stupid. Why are you guys doing that? You shouldn't even be working on maps. You should be working on this.
Yeah.
And then a fourth person will come along and say, no, we need this feature. Why don't you do that? And a fifth person will come along, and this is what's been going on. So they would actually finish stuff, get it close to release, and then somebody else would come in and say, nix that. We're going to go do something else. So you know how we were frustrated? Where's the content? They weren't dumb. They knew what they needed to do. It was this. It was this ping-ponging between different chiefs saying, well, no, this is what you should do. No, this is what you should do. No, you should do that. No. You shouldn't even do any of that. You should be doing something over here. You should what? So they would have stuff available, ready to go, and then scrap it. And you're like, well, but this is what they need to get rid of, right? There just needs to be like the one person who says, yep, and that's it. There's no more ping-ponging. There's no more, no, get it out. Just get it out. This is the frustration that they've been having, right? It's not like the work couldn't be accomplished. Not like the people there don't have the talent to do the work. It's this. It stifles the ability to get things done. Thank God she recognized that. Thank God it is going to be handled. Even 5 layers is a lot. Getting it down to 3 would be awesome. That's really all it should be, right? Head of studio, your team lead, your team. That's it. You should be able to design and do what you need to do within that. Unfortunately, that's not how it was. And this is going to have to be something they get into. But I think it's an important note that probably is part of the target of a lot of these layoffs as well. Is that like, if your mentality is, no, I've been here for 80 years and I need to be like, okay, dude, like whatever. Well, you can't own everything. You have to let go. You just have to let go. And so some of this just needs to be changed. And that might be part of the exercise of people that needed to go. Like, you have to just get rid of some of this stuff where this old style mentality was there. Sorry, but it's not good enough, right? We need to move faster. So I'm guessing some of the people that were let go were that. But anyways, back to the third. As we grew our headcount, we became more fragmented. Teams, studios, and functions often operate independently, and it became harder to work towards a shared goal, make the right trade-offs, and get things done. Exactly what I just said. For the first time, we are establishing a chief operating officer with end-to-end P&L responsibility across content, hardware, platform, and services. Helen Chang has been promoted to this role and will report directly to me. Over nearly 2 decades at Xbox, Helen has helped build some of our most important businesses, from Xbox Live to leading Mojang and the Minecraft franchise. She will bring our businesses together under one operating model, making sure we make clear investment decisions, learn from our successes and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for results. Thank you, Dave McCarthy, who is retiring after 17 years with Xbox. Dave has played a defining role in building the platform that millions of players rely on every day, and has been a trusted partner through many of the biggest moments in Xbox's history. We wish him all the best. These changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, and more creative than anything we've seen before. This year, we'll invest as much in Xbox as we ever have, but we'll invest with greater focus, greater discipline, and greater clarity, all in service of making Xbox where the world plays and creates. I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertain more than 1 billion people each day and gives everyone the opportunity to create and connect. I know we can achieve this goal. Xbox has many of the most beloved franchises in entertainment history, talented studios around the world, and we will return to growth in 2027. History is full of companies that mistake longevity for inevitability. We will not be one of them. So, Matt, your thoughts.
I mean, I've been talking this whole thing to death, even on my channel and stuff. And like, I just got just final things to say on this whole thing.
Go ahead.
I know there's going to be more that happen. Xbox, what they were doing wasn't working for them anymore. They're changing it, resetting the business. This is what they've said they were going to do. This is what they're doing. No games that we were announced for us as gamers were canceled. There's no studio closures. We're going to see how this new business model works out over the years ahead. I think also people need to stop being outraged anytime a Christopher Dring or anybody like that writes an article about Xbox. Towards don't have outrage towards Xbox, because they clearly have been wrong about almost every single thing that they've said ever since all of this started. You had names throwing out like Obsidian. You have id is incapable of making games now. You had every single thing under the sun being said about all of this that has to be clarified. So everybody stop jumping to conclusions on everything. None of this is finalized. We don't know what is going to end up happening a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. We got to wait and see. It's okay to speculate on the possibilities and all that other kind of stuff, but I've just seen way too much damn jumping to conclusions about what this means for specific studios, for specific franchises, for specific things, and like it's almost a foregone conclusion, or this is written in concrete about what's going to happen, right? Like nobody knows, and clearly the games media doesn't know. They've been making that the most clear out of anybody out there, except for a handful of people. So we're going to see what happens. This is no different than any other platform or publisher changing their business model when they decide what they've been doing isn't working well for them anymore. It happens time and time again in the industry. I'm glad that the studio's living on. I'm glad that I still get to play State of Decay. I'm glad that I still get to play these games that have been announced. And I'll just leave it at that, man. It's just like, stop listening to these damn media people looking to get clicks and outrage you enough to draw hate towards Xbox for trying to compete in this business, right? None of them had the same damn energy for anything to do with any of the restructures, any of the waffling between PlayStation this generation, all the studio closures of studios that didn't even have a chance to rebuild and succeed because they were just shut down. That was just the news. They were just shut down, right? They didn't have an opportunity to live on. They were just gone. They've released games that they've pulled off the shelves after 2 weeks of being there because they flopped so bad and then shut the studios down. They've done this time and time again this generation. You talk about company that a business model wasn't working for them, so they made a shift, and then that wasn't working for them because they figured out they didn't know how to do it, so they made another shift and have casualties along the way. Nobody in the games media gave anywhere near the same amount of hate over all of this very expected, talked about by Xbox themselves, changes to come. PlayStation just announces the changes as they happen. There's none of the negative doom and gloom speculation to go along with it. There's none of this hate. There's none of this get PlayStation out of the hardware business. There's none of any of this shit. And it's been going on for this entire generation, but especially here lately, as they learned that Xbox is trying to be competitive again in the console space. And they don't like it. They don't want them to be. They want them to fade out. They want them to disappear. They want them to just dissolve into being only a publisher. That's not what Xbox decided was best for them. They are resetting things to give them a better chance in the future, whether they like it or not. And they're going to have to eat crow. They're going to have to eat tons of shit and sit there and play these games on the Xboxes that they hate if they want to review them in the future. Or you got to play on PC, which some of them hate also. So screw them, screw any of the people out there just BSing all the shit that didn't give any of the same level of attention or energy or hate towards PlayStation and all the poor decisions they made, or any of the cancellations that they've had, or any of the studio closures they've had, because they've had far more studio closures this generation than Xbox, because with this layoff, Xbox closed zero fucking studios. How does that feel to be writing all these doom and gloom articles for fucking weeks, talking about every single studio is going to be ousted, shut down, they're not going to be able to do this, do that, or whatever, and then realize that you were dead wrong about everything? They did what you didn't expect. They were actually better than your PlayStation with how they handled this stuff. You should be hoping that Bluepoint ever even got a chance to make a damn game for you. They even got a chance. They were promised a chance when they were acquired. Remember the talk about them getting to make their own thing after Demon's Souls came out? Oh, it's going to be amazing. Oh, hey, but let's put them on this instead. Let's put them on this games of service thing instead, even though we don't know what we're doing and they've never made anything like this. Let's put them on that. Oh, they don't know how to do that? Oh, shit. Well, oops, bye. We're just going to shut you down. Too bad. We're changing models again. Where's all the talk about the casualties of failed business models with PlayStation? Zero. Get your shit together at Games Media. You can enjoy playing your Magic Cube game, because I know you're just going to eat that up. Oh my gosh, God of War's back, baby. We finally got this. If they would realize what's going on at PlayStation and spend more attention at that, then we would actually have an even playing field in the gaming space, but they don't want that. So we're here where we are. Digital only PlayStation coming. They're going to get fucked from both ends, and they're just going to have to take it because that's what they wanted. They propped them up to this point of nothing bad can happen. Well, guess what? PlayStation's screwing you over and over and over again because of this, and you get what you deserve. You're getting what you deserve. And you helped preach this gospel to your lambs and your readers and all of these guys that are just sitting there eating all of your bullshit, this fake marketing that's been going on for an entire generation and a half. Physical is the only way. This is what's important. You own your games. You own this. Hey, we believe that this is the right thing. Man, they were planning to do that stuff along with Xbox back in 2013, and they pulled the rug out. They pulled the rug out because they saw the reaction that Xbox was getting They sold you, they made their fucking castle on a foundation of lies this entire generation and a half, where they've sold you one thing and kept doing something else. Remember, we believe in generations. Remember, we are the studio that makes these great tentpole classic franchise games that you can only get on PlayStation. Where have those been this generation? Where have those been this generation? Where are they? No, they don't have them. Instead, they told all those studios to make games of service games. And now they go and they decide they want to fund second and third party studios because that's the only way they're going to be able to get a pipeline. That's the only way they got to get a pipeline is by money had in games. And then you celebrate that because all of a sudden the goalposts move and it doesn't matter anymore. It's not about the games anymore to you. It's just about the platform. It's just about the console sales. You just want to be on the winning team. That's all these guys care about. They just want to feel good and be on a winning team. Be on the side of consumers, man. If you had that same energy for Game Pass or any of this other kind of stuff and actually propped up what was good for consumers and what was actually good value for any of us, maybe none of this shit would be happening in the first place. Maybe people be educated and figure out, oh, wow, this is actually a good thing. Or, wow, I get this service and I get all these games day and date. Oh, wow, Xbox has all these games launching in 2024. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh, they had all these games launching in 2025 and they're all in Game Pass day and date. I better go subscribe. I better do. No, instead, they just talked about how it's unsustainable, bad for gaming, bad for this, bad for that.
Video about this.
Sorry.
No, $2 super chat, Mac. I don't know. Did you see that, Dave?
Yeah.
It auto read it. So yeah. So while you were talking,
yeah, no, it was good.
So yeah. Did you?
I don't watch any. I don't watch any of those of YouTubers' videos. I don't care what any of them have to say. Honestly, I just like. I mean, it's just you see this go for so long, and now the wool, like I said, the mask is pulled out from over their heads, and they see who they're really dealing with, and now they're living with the repercussions of that. And I gotta say, it's like I feel zero sympathy. I feel zero sympathy because all the things were there. Everything was always there. They just failed to acknowledge any of the actual information and said they just ate up the PR and the marketing. And I gotta give props to PlayStation for being so good at that. But they can't dance around this one. They can't dance around it.
Oh, we got another one.
Spartan gifts.
Who is this snap guy spitting facts?
I don't know if you heard that one. That was awesome.
All right. Yeah. So my take on this part.
Hold on, Hargee. So we did have the super chat that just come up said with the Trump voice, who is this MAV guy spitting facts, which is awesome. But we did do the gifted one because you right when you were reading that one, it played the last gifted one from Spartan.
Sorry, this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Spartan gifts 20 WebDave memberships. Thank you, Spartan.
Yes, thank you so much. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Hargee. I want to get your thoughts on this. I just wanted to make sure we got that, because it kind of ran over itself.
Yep. All right. So, as far as this piece, it's interesting they didn't have a COO. They now do. That's good. They are looking at P&L now. And again, that was a vision change because originally that was not what they wanted.
Ice Cold Cabbage 4,329 celebrates 2 months of membership.
Thank you for your 2 months of membership.
Mav been standing on business for a while. Much respect.
Yep, Razor Ultron.
But Razor Ultron celebrates 12 months of membership.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So that's cool. But I think like looking at the other part of this is the vision change, right?
_nice_1 celebrates 17 months of membership.
Thank you.
Is the vision change is there, right? So there's one of the things that I was saying is like after this stuff happens, we need to see what the vision change is. Because if we don't, then it's just going to be this rampant speculation of all the stuff you're talking about now. There's always an Xbox tax, right? Everybody has to talk about Xbox, but she's putting it out there. What they're trying to do is focus on their big games, and they're trying to get those done. They're going to invest not less, but more. They're going to invest more in the content. Well, that's a good thing, right? We want more games. We want more investment, but it's going to be on targeted things that's going to give them a return. That's what they're looking to do, right? So I think ultimately that was a pretty good message to have there. it kind of tells us where, from a consumer, I should expect them to go, right? So that's a good thing, and hopefully they can actually accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. It's a bet. It's a big one. There are changes that coming. It does change the mood at Xbox, I'm sure, right? Because the studios were told one thing and now it's a different thing, and they all have to work through what that means for them. But there's a clear path of what she's looking to do, so hopefully they can kind of work through that. And everybody comes out at the other end in a more useful state as far as the business, the platform, Game Pass, and their consumers. Right? Everybody kind of wins. Of course, there's the studios and the third parties that also work with them as far as either publishing their games on Xbox or working Game Pass deals and all that stuff that they do, or exclusivity deals. That might be a thing as well with third-party games as well. So overall, I mean, the message was pretty good. It was going to be crap anyways. People were going to lose jobs. That was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. But looking at it from a glass half full perspective, this could have been way worse. This could have been way worse. So overall, I think it's more hopeful from my perspective. Some may take it totally differently. Fair enough. But I thought this was as good as it could have gotten from what we expect. Now, when you have a massive change in leadership like this, where you're kind of displacing what was there, this usually happens, right? You're going to have a reorg. You're going to have some changes in how things happen. That's just the way it is, right? This was not a continuation. This was hey, we're switching gears. So you have to look at this kind of thing and say, this is going to happen. Now we'll see where it goes from there, right? So good luck to everybody that's still there. Good luck to the teams. I hope everything works and you can make some great games and we get to enjoy those games. But that's kind of my I think it was overall pretty good. Dave, you haven't really had a chance to weigh in much. What were your thoughts? How did you take all this?
Well, I'll say that I love the fact that she is so forthcoming. She is basically, letting everybody know. It's more open. It's more pull back the curtain. Than we've ever seen with almost any company. At a time when I think we need that kind of stuff, the clarity the most. And so that's the big thing I get from that, is that this is the second part, the second 100 days. And is there going to be some more bad things between now and the end of this 100 days? Probably. Maybe a few more layoffs, a few more, maybe more things that hit us that are like, ooh, I don't like that. Or I don't like that. We're not going to like everything that she wants to do or that she has to do to make Xbox a success. And unfortunately, those kind of things do happen. Some people have lost their jobs. Like I said last week, I've lost my job due to layoffs or restructuring of a company twice. Big changes in my life that happened. I'm not bitter about it. I feel like I'm at a better place now. Not everybody lands 100% on their feet, but there is a path forward. Instead of, crying about it, you just man up and move forward in your life. And that's a lot of times the way you got to do things. Is it like, it's unfortunate? Yes. Is it the end of the world? No, it's not. It's not the end of the world for anybody. It's just a matter of things change. Life comes at us hard. And sometimes that's just the way it is. And I understand if it's like, oh, well, I did this and I have this and I have my bills and all this kind of stuff. I get it. I've been through it twice. I know what you're talking about. But to just throw that out there and it's bad to do this. Well, would you rather everybody in the company lose their job if they had to close Xbox? So there's give and takes about that. There's definitely, or like you guys were saying earlier, Blue Point is completely gone. They didn't get a chance to go somewhere else. They didn't have a chance to sell them to another company. They just closed the studio. Everybody that lost their jobs, nobody had a chance to move forward with that company. and they were pretty much their, you know, their prize thing that they wanted to do because they were focusing on PC. Now they're not. There's reasons for that, but it is what it is. So what Xbox is doing now, I think is definitely something that they need to do. And I have a feeling that the next set of 100 days, which I believe, Hargeet, if we're doing the math, it falls into like around the Tokyo Game Show and the end of the year with the award show and those kind of things. I think the next 100 days after we get through this one, the hard times, the reset, as it were, I think, you know, there's a good chance that she's going to be setting out a path of least resistance to get to the goal. And she stated her goal is to make Xbox the biggest video game company in the market by 2030. That's like 4 years away. Is it possible? I don't know. But I sure as hell am going to give her a chance to try. It's better than what's going on, you know, in the previous people that have worked in all of the different industries. So it's, you know, all the different companies, I should say, that are in gaming right now. Because, I mean, I know there's a lot of pony and there's a lot of Xbox tax that seem to be thrown out that you know, I mean, we'll get into it here in a minute because we definitely have there's some coverage for that about all the rakes that Sony has stepped on. Boy, have they stepped on a lot. And in fact, a lot of people, including some of their diehard fans, aren't letting them, quote unquote, sweep it under the rug. They're sitting in the shit and they're throwing it back at them. So that's crazy. But that's what I had to say about that. I also have to say, welcome out to over 250 people watching us live. And also want to say this.
If you like this video, please hit the like button.
Thanks, Dirt. Appreciate that. So yeah.
Did you want me to read this?
Yeah, you can read that line.
Yeah. Thatch says everything Mav said is right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to take it away while you were talking so people could see you.
And a lot of people have said and throughout when Mav has been talking, Mav Rant or Mav Rant 2.0 and all that kind of stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I love having Mav on here is because I do like your insight, Mav, and you're like you're kind of, I guess, frustrated or fed up with some of the speak that goes on. And there's other members of the community and other podcasts that I do respect that I'm like, dude, why are you letting them get away with this? Why do you not see the stuff that's going on? But everybody has their own opinions and own views, and I'm not going to call anybody out.
It's hard for people to do that, by the way. A lot of people who have these biases don't realize it.
Yep.
You know, it's when you talk, I'm sure in political worlds you see this when you talk to somebody who's on the opposite side.
Oh yeah.
That they just don't get why you're on the other side. They don't get it.
Yep.
Right. It doesn't enter their brain. They just don't get it. Right. And that's just the way it is. And so they don't understand they have that bias. They just see that you're a thorn in their side. That's it. They don't see it any other way. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. It's always good to try to extricate yourself out, but it's very hard to do. It's very hard to say, I'm going to pull my ego out of this and look at this holistically and say, where are things? It's not easy. A lot of people have inherent biases on everything, right? It's just the way we are. One of the things that came out of this is this message right here. One of the teams impacted, they were scaled up quite a bit under Xbox, was id, right? And I mean, I think that's a great thing because we've all been saying, why don't we have id go make blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're such a talented team and they have id Tech, which is such a great engine. Why don't we use that and say, hey, let's make the next blah, 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 right? We've all been saying like what? And so they said, sure. And then didn't tell them what to make. And instead said, oh, what do you want to make? And so they were looking at something like a John Wick type game. They were looking at a Perfect Dark. I'm like, you just had a team trying to make a Perfect Dark. You really think that's a good idea? Anyway, I think there was another one in the mix. And I'm like, okay, but you know what you didn't mention in all of that? Quake. You literally have a conference called QuakeCon.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Quake in all of this? Like, you just redid Doom, you redid Wolfenstein. Where's Quake? Like, why was that not one of the ones that you should have been looking at? And I think that basically was the impetus for Asha saying, okay, well, you're floundering. We grew you by 50%. You didn't do what we wanted. You're going off and trying to figure out things that don't matter. Bye. Right? We're going to shrink you back to the way you were. Now, that might not mean the exact same people, by the way, because it might say, well, some of the people that have been here for a while, they're not really pulling their weight. Let's go get the newer people that came in. These are really good talents. We'll just keep them, right? So, but from a numbers perspective, they've scaled them back, and they basically just, everybody thought that, oh, it's the end of id, right? They reduced it by a bazillion %. It's over. They're just going to become a support studio, and they're not going to be making id tech anymore, and blah blah blah. Right? And they came out and just clarified it. And so here's what they said: thank you all for the support this week. While our studio was impacted, those changes were spread across teams. We still have the crew we need to build the games and tech we're known for. The team today is about the same size we were when making Doom 2016. We have always had a flat studio where everyone is a maker, and we will remain true to that philosophy moving forward. We are focused on supporting each other and the team members impacted. We're going to keep building great games and tech that have defined us for the past 35 years. And we're looking forward to seeing you at QuakeCon this August. So good that they put that out there and basically told people, hey, no, this is not, they basically just shrunk us back. And I think a lot of that messaging should have been inferred when they said we grew by 40% since the beginning of this generation. They're just scaling it back. That 40% is going to come back down, back to earth, because they have to actually deliver. And that's what happened here. They scaled the team up on the hopes that that would allow them to, A, make the next Doom game even more spectacular, and then B, start working on other games. And neither of those really happened. Doom, The Dark Ages, though kind of cool, it's a good game, did not quite measure up to its predecessors, right? So the previous two installments, and didn't sell as well. It also didn't really change that dramatically that it made the double the investment thing worth it. The other games, they were, how does somebody want to make Perfect Dark after you just had the initiative make Perfect Dark and get canceled? Like, you should just run away from that IP for the next 20 years. Like, I don't know why anybody in the Xbox studios is even looking at that, but apparently they were. The John Wick style game sounds cool. I have no problem with it, but there's a John Wick game. Like they've shown that, right? Somebody actually is making a John Wick game, right? So it's like, well, then I don't need them to make that John Wick game. We already have that, so that's kind of bogus. But one of those games was not Quake, and I'm like, dude, you own this. Why aren't you? Anyway, so I think that's basically what happened, and now they're just going to have the core team move away from Doom and go to Quake. Machine Games, which up to what I've heard has not been impacted at all, is probably working on Wolfenstein, but maybe they did get impacted. I just haven't heard anything on their side of it. Is probably working on Wolfenstein. There's also rumors that Wolfenstein 3 is already ready to go. They just haven't released it because they don't have a time window to put it in. Okay, that's fair. But they have indie and that to work on. So they have two games that are, whatever you say, like even in the old Vision, indie was a critical success. No way around it. High 80s meta. It had many award noms. It was definitely in that realm, right? So it was a critical success. Was it a financial success? I don't know, because of the deal with Disney. I don't know how that works. But I don't know that it would have been a financial success, but that's for Microsoft to figure out, not for me to figure out. But it did meet the vision of critical success game that draws attention. People wanted to play that game on the PlayStation side. They wanted to play that game. And then it was announced for PlayStation, right? So So that, was one of their better, games. And so Machine Games did deliver that. And Wolfenstein, the mainline games, they were critically successful as well. And I think somewhat financially successful. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, as far as I understand, that happened there. Like Machine Games has not been touched from what I understand. But I think that's what they're saying, because they're saying those IPs they want. So Asha's put up like, hey, I want Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein. I want more of those, right? Along with Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I want more of those, right? It's like, okay, cool. So I think that's all it is. And it's kudos to them for it to come out and say, yeah, we're not in deathbed mode here. Like everything we're capable of doing, we are still capable of doing. We had just expanded, and unfortunately we didn't deliver, and that's the way it is. That's just the way it is, right? It's not something they're happy about, but it's also not doom and gloom. No pun intended.
Right, exactly. Pun intended, actually. Read that comment, which I thought was very well put. I don't know if Mav, if you saw that one or not.
Yeah, General Stone, Mav speaks with passion and communicates facts.
It's true. You do. That's why we love him. He's right here. He's like, person.
Some people mistake it for anger. Not anger. I don't get angry or upset about any of this stuff. It's just you're passionate about this hobby, man. Like,
Yeah.
And when you see like so much stuff that it's just like so clear as day to you,
Yep.
And it's so hard sometimes to just sit back and just see nobody talking about the obvious stuff. And there's bigger pictures to everything that gets looked over completely, about a lot of the reasons why the industry's in the position and it's in. And like I'm not afraid to name names. I'm not afraid to call out BS when I see it. And it's all over the place. I was kind of sick of it, and unless everybody starts calling that stuff out, to me, really, there's not going to be a change. And it creates this whole conflict between like games media versus YouTubers and all that kind of stuff and journalism. But the reality is the games media has reduced themselves to being no better than any content creators out there because it's all opinion based now. And what is one person's biased opinion worth more than somebody else's? But they put themselves on a pedestal like they're better than, like they're objective and all this kind of stuff, which is bullshit. None of them are. You can see it every single time they make the point to drive some kind of clickbait article about the amount of games leaving Game Pass where they've never had one about PS Plus and the amount of games leaving them. What's the purpose of one article versus the others? Because people are being negative about Xbox at the time, and they know any kind of extra attention they can have with some kind of article driving engagement as some kind of negative Xbox sentiment, makes it seem like Xbox is doomed, makes it seem like this and that. How many Xbox is dead videos do you have to see? How many times do you have to see games media say that Xbox is going to be shuttered, or Xbox is going to be moved on from, or that Microsoft is failing and the Xbox can't succeed because of the way they're doing business and all of this other kind of stuff? And it just leads to this point where we're at. And if people would actually pull their head out of their ass sometimes and look at the grander scheme of things and realize they're contributing to that whole mantra and the way that the industry is, then we would actually start to see some even playing field here where people actually get information, useful information on games, useful information on platforms, as opposed to always propping something up above the rest. And that's what I get sick of.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It is frustrating. And it's a lot of times it's like, where's the other voices in this? You know what I mean? It's almost like one-sided. And for whatever reason, a lot of different other places don't seem to want to call it out. And it's not necessarily their place to call it out, but if you're going to go down one side, you need to go down the other. You can't just,
just keep it even, man.
Exactly. Keep it even. Keep it fair.
Even. That's it.
Yep. I played this last week, and I'm going to bring it up. Hargeet, I'm not sure if you're in the background or if you're stepped away for a minute, which is fine either way. But I'm going to play this. This is a a lot of people know him. Pio is a absolute pony, super Sony fanboy, which is fine. It's all good for him. But so the no digital future part came out. Hargit, if we read the top of that, and then I'll play his actual.
Yeah, I got to miss that from last week's show, right? Because they had announced that the previous Wednesday. Is that PlayStation is just hard stop in January 2028. No more physical discs for PlayStation 5 and for whatever comes in the future. But anyway, so this is Pio. It's time for a change. Speak up against Sony and PlayStation. Push back the death of physical media. It's time to unite the whole gaming community to one common thing. Don't accept, say no to digital only future. This includes everyone. Use your voice.
Yeah, so he's calling to arms everybody because, yeah, anyway. So this is we'll play his clip. It's only 37 seconds long, but it's you'll get his gist of how pissed off they are, and not only him, but a lot of other people in the industry that are really mad about this, even though it seems like an inevitability. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so let's play this clip where you guys can hear him.
If there was a time where like every fan of gaming is to
of course it's gonna buffer. Why does it always do it right now? Right when I need it to be not doing that. Let's pause it for a second. Let's hit refresh. Nope, it's not doing anything.
How about don't make it like full screen? Just leave it normal.
Right, we'll try that.
Work?
Let me hit reload. And,
yeah.
Kapow. Oh shit, that refreshed the whole thing. So that might not have been good. Let me stop sharing this one for a second. All right, let me do this. I do it to myself, Hargeet. Okay, yeah, so that totally shut the bed. Fantastic. That was not a good call.
Refresh your browser.
I just did. That's what it's all spinning. So yeah.
Well.
Anyway,
how the cookie crumbles.
It does. Well, we'll just go on to the next part. But anyway, he wasn't happy. I'll try and get that back here in a second. Let's see if I can. Wait a minute. Maybe I can get that. Here we go. I paused the TTS. I can turn it back on. Let's see if that works.
All right.
Pause thing. Let's see if it works.
Quake symbol was on Machine Games whiteboard during the Indiana Jones Direct. Thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Very cool.
Yep.
It was.
They may be the one working on it.
Yep. Very well could
sense. They brought back. They're the ones that brought back Wolfenstein, so they could be the ones to bring back Quake.
Yep.
Okay, would be very interesting for sure. All right, I'm scrolling frantically to see if I can get back to it real quick. So bear with me 2 or 3 seconds. And
well, while that's happening, I guess we can mention some of the other notes of that, right? So, and I guess we're shifting to this. I think one other thing to note is that Obsidian, there's pretty good indication at this point, or is it pretty much confirmed that they're going to be doing Fallout? They're working now, not on Outer Worlds. No, it's Avowed to. They are working on Fallout. What in Fallout, we don't know, but they're going to be working on Fallout.
Fallout New something, probably.
Yeah,
what
probably,
I would guess. I would say it would probably be Fallout New in whatever city,
yeah.
There's also I think it was. I don't know if it's confirmed, but it is making their next game is a Doom game.
There you go.
But it's been reported. I don't know if those reports are accurate or not, because everything else that comes out of games media turns out to be fake as shit. But this one would make sense if they ain't making Quake and they ain't making either of those other games. Then with what Asha had said before, is Doom is one of those tentpole IPs. Well, Machine Games makes Quake and id makes Doom. That would make a lot of sense, right?
Yep.
It would. All right. I got this back up. Let me Share this one. Let's see if we can get it to play. Say a prayer.
If there was a time where like every fan of gaming unite, I'm not talking about just people on casuals. I'm talking about everyone. That includes Geoff Keighley, all the big names, and everything. IGN. Everyone needs to unite for this. You understand? Don't care about if you have a contract with them. They're gonna send you free shit. This is bigger than that. Please stand up for this. Stand up, okay? If you have a social media account, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever, YouTube, stand up against this. This is the only way to push back. Sony can't. Like, it's not an option. It's not an option for Sony to get away with this. You understand me? There's no option here.
Hey, pretty upset about that, Hargeet. He seems a little sad.
Yeah, I mean, I never really got to get into this in our show last week. This is an interesting choice. I mean, this is arrogance. This feels to me a lot like the Sony of the PS3 time. That hubris, that like, you're gonna do what we tell you to do, and that's that, right? And it's a lot of that PS3 energy from my perspective. This is a very interesting choice. I think they've stepped on a huge rake, and they've set themselves up in a way that it's probably not easy for them to undo it. It caught a lot of the industry by surprise. And there are so many like downstream effects of this change that are going to change a lot of the gaming industry. And I don't know that this was something that they should have just done so, I guess just haphazardly. I don't know. It's very obvious this happened after the end of the last fiscal year. They looked at their business portfolio and said, do we really need to do this piece? Why don't we stop that? We're going to take this manufacturing plant and assign it to doing, it's a component, basically. It's a part of an AI data center capability, right? They were able to convert them into using it for that. It's like, fine. Okay, cool. Right. That's a better business model, especially when you're looking at where AI is going. Don't be surprised if that crashes, right? And then that could be bad for Sony as well. But right now it's going crazy. So they're like, hey, we can make more money if we shift over, right? It's fine. Okay, I get that. But they didn't think about the downstream effects of what would happen. They just assumed, hey, the majority of our gamers, they don't play on physical. They buy digital. Looking at the top line numbers and not looking in depth and saying, wait a second, though. If I say 85% is digital and 15% is physical, I'm also not looking at that and saying, yeah, but which games are also offered physical? Which ones are only offered digital? And if I'm only accounting, if I'm not taking that into account, then I'm not looking at the actual picture of what the consumer demand is, right? If I offer both and the number's more like 30%, 40% physical, then I'm really hitting the market, am I not? Also, you have to look at this regionally, and I think the ire you're getting is regions like Europe heavily favor physical over digital. And if you just take an overall view of it and say, it doesn't matter. Well, to Europeans, it does. To the downstream effects of other I don't know how else to say it, but basically poorer nations, they live on the secondhand market. And if you're going to take that away from them, how can they it essentially eliminates it for them. Like what, for them, like a PS1, PS2 is still good because that's all they can afford. They have a whole bunch of older games because that's what they can afford. We look at it from a very privileged perspective in our world. We say, hey, Japan and America have a very high standard of living. Okay, very cool. That's good. We can buy new stuff. Don't think everybody on the planet can. And now you're just kind of taking that away from them. Again, a lot of downstream effects, all sorts of other like collectors. And there's so many things that you look at that just suddenly kind of go away. And you're like, well, is that something that is okay? We also at the same time found out, hey, we're going to take away 550 of your movies that you bought. Wait, what? Okay. Oh, by the way, we're shutting down the PS3 store and the PS Vita store. Wait, what? So hold on. I can't access this stuff anymore that you allowed me to buy, and I won't be able to buy these games from your digital only option in the future because, okay, cool, PS3, you still have discs, fine. But what happens to those PS5 games or presumably PS6 games that won't be available physical? You will at some point shut those stores down. What happens then? What are you gonna do to us? Like at some point, like, so people are seeing all these gyrations and like, this sounds nice for you. What's in it for me? Like, where's the benefit to me, the customer, right? And so you see a huge pushback, and rightly so. I'm not sure what your angle on this was, but that's my angle. I think this was a massive, massive break step on PlayStation's part. I think, Mav, you've already kind of mentioned it. This is the story. This needs to be the story. Like, screw the stupid layoffs. That happens all the time. This is a shift, not only in the gaming world, in media at all. I still have the ability to buy a physical disc for a movie. I still can buy physical for music. You're taking that away as an option altogether in one form of media in the gaming world. Like, is that really the direction we want to go? And if so, how do you reconcile media digital rights? Like, how do I have my property that I paid for? I can very easily give this to anybody I want. It's mine, right? You can say I only have a license to it. Fair enough. I don't care. I still have this disc. I can do what I want with it. I can lend it to somebody. I can sell it. It's mine. I have it. When it's digital, what do I do? Where is my ability to say I leave this to so-and-so when I die? Like, how do I do that?
Right.
With the digital license, what do I do? There's a whole slew of questions. I don't know that this has happened in any other place. I wrote a book. You can certainly get those digitally, but you can get a physical book. I can leave that library to anybody I want. What is the equivalent answer here? This is a simple change from them, but it's a massive change for the world. So I don't know that they're ready for this. This is going to create quite a bit of hubbub. Maybe it does nothing, right? But I think it's going to get into an interesting area. There's already lawsuits about them taking away choice for where you buy digital content for PlayStation. This is going to go further. You're taking away my ability to buy a disc altogether? Okay, that's a huge change. I don't know what that's going to look like going forward, but I would expect lawsuits. I totally would expect lawsuits. And I wonder if this will finally get to the point where governments will finally concede they need to do something about digital rights, right? And I don't mean digital rights management. People think maybe like, hey, you have to have blocks and all that. I don't care about the tech that lets you copy something or not. There's just a reality. If I paid for something, I have some property right to that payment, right? I bought something. What did I buy? What do I have rights to, right? And how do I continue to maintain rights to the thing I paid for, right? So once you get personal property and rights into it, how does that work in a digital world? It's something that needs to be addressed. But anyway, so what a kerfuffle.
Yeah, exactly. Read that real quick, and then I got one quick comment to make.
Gentle Stone, it will take citizens worldwide to demand a digital bill of rights. Yeah, it's going to. Or a lawsuit. I think that's going to be one of the keys. It's going to be one of those, and that will push lawmakers to figure out, oh, okay, yeah, this is something. WebDave, Microsoft just lost lawsuit against who lost all of his digital games. Yeah, I heard something about that, right? There was somebody whose account got locked out. This was, I want to say, Brazil. Yeah. And they just said, kick rocks, go create a new account. And they lost thousands of dollars or something like that of games. And they're like, nope. They went to court, and the court said, no, you have to make them whole, give them their games back.
Yep.
So So that needed to happen, and it's gonna have to be more of those, and somehow that needs to get to the point where eventually people have digital rights to the stuff they're buying, they're outright buying. I get it if it's a subscription, fair enough, you don't own anything, I get that. But if I paid full price for this thing, then I have to have some rights to it.
Yeah.
And this digital world is going to be very messy.
Very messy for sure. Big shout out to the article we're getting ready to read here in 1 second. But yeah, over 300 people watching us live. Thank you all so much for joining us, either on X or on YouTube. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you very much. It means a lot. If you get a chance, hit the subscribe button. It's free to hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a dime, but that way you don't miss out on any of the content we have coming up in the future. We really would appreciate that. And if you want to get your own membership, you can. It's just $1. It's all there is to it. But you don't have to do that either. But if you don't want to, that's cool. But we do it. We would appreciate a like on the video, and of course, the subscription to the channel would be amazing. We're on the road to 4K. Had to get that out of the way. Thank you for that, or I get yelled at by Randall Thor 19. He tells me always promote. But yeah, so with the backlash and to say this both to Mav and to Hargeet, I mean, about 3 weeks ago now, there was just an article which we covered here. Sony just oh, by the way, 550 movies that were licensed on their digital streaming service through your the Sony network. You don't have access to those anymore. Thank you. Have a nice day. You don't get a refund. You don't get any. You can't watch those movies. Like Terminator 2 is one of the examples of the movies that were there. And it's just, if that's the only way you had that movie digitally, it's gone. And that's probably one of the reasons why some of the fanboys are hitting hard. They're like, "What the fuck?" You know, it's like if we can't get our movie back, what we're gonna do with our games? They can just fuck off. Sorry. Oh yeah, exactly. So there's all kinds of stuff that they can do to you. You know, we get kind of spoiled on the Xbox side by a lot of times when a new game comes out, or an old game comes out, I should say, and then they've made upgrades to it, and then just because it's on Game Pass or on the ecosystem of Xbox, they'll give you the free upgrades. It doesn't cost you anything. You know, like bring it up to 4K. They bring it up to this and that on a game that's like 10 years old. They didn't have those capabilities at the time. And it's just, it's included. And it's just an update that they give to everybody who's purchased the game. That's amazing. We get spoiled to that. With that said, we're going to this article real quick. And then because after that happened, they were silent for almost a week. Actually, it was more than a week. Sony just didn't say a word, didn't post nothing. Go ahead.
They stayed silent because they wanted Xbox to fumble and take the negative news to them. But what they did wasn't as negative.
Right.
And so they waited until the day after that news came out, assuming, this is all going to blow over because Xbox bad and Xbox will take the big PR hits. That didn't happen. And then they posted after that. And they're still in trouble.
Oh, and now everything they posted. You want to read this little part, and we'll bring up some of these screenshots.
Sony's struggling immensely. Almost every post PlayStation is making is being community noted due to a massive campaign against their proposed termination of physical games. Some are even titled "Purchase Warning." Here are just a few of the notes that have appeared in the last day. Yikes. First one, from PlayStation itself, action RPG Mortal Shell 2, upcoming game, apparently pretty good, arrives on PS5 August 20th. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. Purchase warning. Sony's sudden pivot to digital without informing partners, its poor digital ecosystem in pivotal markets, desperation to erase retail and resale, and executives selling off stock suggests massive corporate instability. This content may not last long.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And then the next one, another one. All on PlayStation is getting this.
Delve into the Elder Scrolls Online Season 1, Return of Thieves Guild, and more live today. Purchase warning: Sony sudden pivot to digital without informing. I think it's the same exact words, isn't it?
No, the one in the middle. Read that one.
And the middle one is Grand Theft Auto 6 plays best on PS5. Pre-order today to get ready for launch. There will never be a physical version of this game, as per Rockstar.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
they're not going to do it. They're not. It's not happening. Mav, your thoughts on this? I mean, is it their comeuppance, or is it kind of a fresh air to see this? Even like MPG has lost his fucking mind, and he's even threatening to, I'm not buying a PlayStation 6. I'm not buying this. I'm not doing that. And his channel is pretty much freaking out, half and half. They're half turned on him, half supporting him. It's a crazy time to be a gamer. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's like, is this justice to some degree, or do you think it's going to help any?
Like I said earlier, I think it's like them removing their mask, to a lot of the people that have been kind of eating up the BS for a generation and a half, realize that they've kind of been lied to about the priorities behind the company and what they believe in,
Mm-hmm.
Now I assumed that eventually, gaming on console was going to be all digital at some point. I didn't expect it to happen with PlayStation at this. I expected them to probably end up having an add-on drive option, like they did do with the PS5 Pro, and still make physical games as an option for developers. But them deciding to just go ahead and say, no, we're not doing it anymore starting in 2028 is kind of like a bully move. I'm digital only, so I'm not going to act like this is like affecting me in a massive way directly right now, but I will tell you how it will potentially impact all of us, including me. Physical being there as an option holds the stores to accountable for being able to have another option of access in a secondhand market, right? So if you have a disc come out on a game that's $70, some people might say, well, I'm going to wait and buy a used copy, right? Or I might use GameFly, or I might do this or do whatever, right? To get access to that game. Might borrow it from my buddy that I know is buying it when he's done with the game, whatever. So it gives consumers another option. What that does by having another option there, it keeps pricing in check, because the publishers and the platform holders want you to buy as many games immediately at full price as possible. Okay. Now, if there is no other option to access the game whatsoever, except for direct access only on one device, in which you have complete control over the only storefront available on that device, then you have ultimate complete control on the entire ecosystem of games put onto that platform, including your own. Remember, they also announced recently they're not putting their single player games on PC anymore, pulling back from that. So that's them taking that away. Now they're no longer going to be making physical games. They announced the variable pricing thing that they have as well. This leads to the potential of them being able to do whatever they want with the price and have complete control over the ecosystem. Mind you, they also have the worst return policy in with platforms. They have the most likelihood of your account getting hacked out of all the platforms. And just people like Colin Moriarty just had this happen to them. He wouldn't have gotten his account back like he did if he didn't have connections.
Right.
What would happen to his entire library? There's no recourse to be able to go get all your games back but if you have physical, that's another option for people to have. So those consumers that are concerned about that, the physical market keeps that in check. Other games that lose licensing, like, hey, one I use as an example, a game that came out in the 360 generation, Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth, right? Or you could use any of the Forzas that came out. They eventually get pulled from digital store, right? So if you want to buy one of those games today, the only way to do so is to buy a physical copy, which can be playable on whatever system they had at the time. If games stop releasing physical any of these potential licensed games will just cease to be playable or purchasable and whatsoever. So you will have games just completely erased from the history, and relegated to whatever 1 or 2 years cycle they had of sales, without any means for anybody to purchase them going forward, and not even in any kind of collector state or retro state or anything like that. So there's massive implications here towards consumers, and it's even increased when it's the leading high-end console manufacturer that is dictating this move first. Because whatever moves they do, despite any intentions from the rest, will dictate the flow of the industry. Because even if Xbox were to say today, oh, we're going to be having physical options, right? Blah, 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 blah. A lot of these publishers would look at the Xbox platform and say, well, they only have so many, consoles out there. We're expecting this fewer sales. They're less likely to release a disc version if that's the only disc they're releasing, right? So massive implications across the board, dictating it. I'm not going to act like Xbox wasn't probably planning on the same thing, but at least along the way, they have multiple access points, giving you access across PC and more than one storefront. As well. They also offer their games in a subscription service that is multifaceted across many means of access as well. So you have multiple access points there, and they are also working on a program that offers a solution for people for their existing libraries of physical games if the future hardware does not have a disk drive. And that's the disc to digital positron program that's might be coming out. So the part of this problem too is PlayStation announced this without any kind of added incentive or consumer protections or ways they're handling this differently, being a digital only storefront. They just expect everything to just flow properly. And I got to give it, finally, PlayStation gamers stood their ground on something, holding their feet to the fire on this. I don't think they're going to let it go. I'm hoping what does come of it is increased consumer protections for digital games in some form or fashion. Because I don't know if PlayStation is going to end up backtracking. Maybe it's possible they do. I don't know. At least maybe they pretend like they are, right? And like I have an optional disk drive and just don't necessarily support it that much. There might be some kind of thing that happens, but eventually this will come to a head in some form or fashion, because this is going to carry with them with the PS6 announcement when it does happen, right? And it is very interesting that all these executives have sold a lot of the shares, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not, if that happened at Xbox, if Xbox had really bad news or industry changing implications of an announcement, and then right after they made that announcement sold over 50% of their shares, people would be freaking out, right? People would be running around with the games media would be just jumping like crazy, being like, what's going on? Corruption, all these other kind of things. They would be just outraged. However, barely any mention of any of that from games media. Secondly, there's been way more articles about all the Xbox stuff than the biggest ramifications of physical media from games media as well. They've been trying to run interference. Mainstream media has been picking this up more. The articles you've seen more from games media has been like, do we even use physical anymore? They always come from, and Korkenstein said this on the comment that I saw him say this, and I think it was said perfectly. The games media in large, not all of them, run PlayStation articles as a place when there's negative news as a place of trying to understand the decision. When it comes to Xbox news, it comes from a place of contempt. It comes from a place of anger and contempt of their place in the industry. And when PlayStation does bad things, it comes from a place of trying to understand their decisions and inform the customers why they're doing it. And it's almost like the PR speak for games media. That's why I had so much despise for everybody like complaining about Jez's first interview with Asha Sharma, because his interview with Asha Sharma reads like almost every major games media interview with any Sony executive of all time, which they rarely ever have any. Right. And like, you see this kind of move now. You see those articles talking about that kind of stuff. with do people play physical games, like all this other kind of stuff is like trying to like dissuade the gamer. It reminds me of when the $70 price tag was announced at the beginning of this generation, and the games media ran with it's time, blah 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 blah. And who was the first platform holder to do that? The first platform holder to actually announce $70 pricing at the beginning of this generation before it started was Sony.
Mm-hmm.
They're always running this defense force. They're always running this kind of thing for them. And right now it's not working in their favor. So you're starting to see a little bit more. You're starting to see some people go onto mainstream media and start to give it back. You're seeing the fans stand up to this. I don't think this is going to be something that is just going to move on. I hope that there is some kind of enough pushback, enough lawsuits, or like you said, or maybe politicians deciding to make this a priority because they think it's going to gain them some kind of points with their next campaign or whatever, to be able to get some changes made for consumer protections. But it's all going to be that's going to be a long playing out thing. It might come from other countries too, as setting the tone. Brazil's leading the charge here a little bit with consumer protection and actually getting things pushed through. There's multiple other things they're doing right now as well. So all in all, man, it's going to be interesting to watch. Gaming, I understand the difference of the way that the ecosystem works compared to physical movies and music and stuff, but there it shouldn't be any different, right? This is like the merit on the whole idea of everything is everywhere, is if we were to be able to choose our devices and be able to access our content from wherever we play, right? That's the way digital should work on music and movies and video games, because they're all capable of playing these things, right? But they want complete. This is a storefront battle. This is a play for control over the percentages of extra profit, extra market share, all that other kind of stuff. And this is what it's always been about for them. Even when they decided to make that last move in 2013, when they pulled the rug out and lied to everybody about their original intentions and about how physical was important to them. But that foundation of lies they built upon over the last generation and a half is coming to a head now, because now they have to reveal the end game. And how many of the fans of the PlayStation diehards are going to actually accept this end game? We'll see. They're going to be manipulated through the games media to try and talk them into it, right? Because they're all sponsored by Sony, and we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, man. But right now, mainstream media and fans are standing their ground. I applaud them finally for it. Do I believe they'll actually stay there, keep standing on the square? I think they're going to be playing hopscotch at the end of the day and end up in a completely different place. And when they see that PS6 announced and they are sold whatever PR twisted spewing marketing is with Cerny and all these things of PlayStation, I think they're going to be happy to see the mask again and just willingly eat it all up. I really think that's how it's going to go, but we'll see.
There you go. There you go. Hargeet, your thoughts on this? Plus one thing of both of you, just to think about. It's like the timing of this is 28. Who thinks that in 28 is when the quote unquote PlayStation 6 will be coming out? Because that'll be behind him.
We'll see. It could be 27 for all I know. But anyway, so Spartan gifts another 20 WebDave memberships.
Thank you. Welcome, Zocker. Good to see you in the chat, my friend.
Yeah. So look, I gave some of my ideas on it. As far as like, where the industry is going to take this, how this is going to go. Like to your point of the PlayStation 6, I don't know if it comes out 2026, sorry, 2027 or 28 or 29. I don't know. But there's some rumors that they're starting to build it out mid next year. If they are, that it could scale up for a 27 fall release for the PlayStation 6. We'll see. I don't know what their feelings are as far as the viability of Helix coming out next year. And if it does, do they want to give them a leg up? There's still a massive amount of flux because of the AI component shortage issue. So we'll see, right? And they don't want to make it too expensive. They saw the sticker shock of the Steam machine and how people felt about that. So they're not doing this in a vacuum. As far as like this announcement, I don't know how you do this to your current gen. Like I can even see a potential where you say for the next generation we're going to go digital. But you're just saying, hey, in a year we're just going to stop it, even for PlayStation 5 users. Or for games that might be coming for PlayStation 4. You will just not get a physical release anymore. And it's like, well, but you bought a console with a drive, right? Well, what are you telling those people that might want to pick up a new PS5 for, whatever reason in the next year, say GTA or something like that, or Call of Duty, and they want to pick up the version with the disc drive?
Well, I'll tell you, they'll tell them, Hargeet, they'll say, hey, just like the PS3, it's a great Blu-ray player.
Yeah, but like
true.
But we're not in a market where, like, in the PS3, when that came out, it was the cheapest Blu-ray player.
Yep.
This is not the cheapest Blu-ray player. It's not. It's not the cheapest Blu-ray player anymore. I can easily get one for like $100. So it's not in the same realm. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't understand what their philosophy is here. You're basically telling those players, screw you, pay extra, what is it, $80, get the drive, and you will just not be able to use it in a year. But why though? Like, why would you do that to a current generation? It's very odd to me. Either way, this is where they are. I don't know if it's going to be easy for them to undo. There are many other players in the market as far as making the discs, so it's not the end of the world for that. As far as like them getting back into it, it's possible, but they restructured themselves at the Sony level to do this. Let's just read this piece, which is very weird, right? This it seems the CEO isn't the only one selling his shares. Several Sony executives have also just sold their shares right after the bombshell that PlayStation would drop physical format, according to SEC reports. Financial strategy or laying the groundwork because they knew what was coming. We don't know. And it's so the CEO, by the way, sold 56% of his shares, which is kind of big. You wouldn't expect that. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even worried about the money. I'm more worried about, like, you want to get rid of more than half of your shares in your company that you're running.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell me about the confidence you have in your company? But okay, fair enough. That's just an interesting one. But then you have other executives doing the same. I mean, should anybody be worried if you're invested in Sony? Like, is that a good investment then? Because they must know something, right? They did just kill the car thing. They sold half their TV, division to TCL.
Mm-hmm.
What are they seeing that's like, oh, but like in 3 years, we don't think this company is going to be worth as much. If that's the case, like, that's kind of a weird indication to send to your investor community. But either way, maybe it's incidental and has nothing to do with it. But it does make you like consider, like, as an investor, should you be worried about what's going on here? But either way, what I am interested in is what happens next. And a lot of this is only going to get fixed if there's fierce competition and they do something different. So really, it's all on Xbox. And, Asha has been pretty good about reading the room. If she's seeing all this, we got a thing coming in.
Let me turn it back on.
Is it off?
I got paused. Yeah, we'll play it.
Okay.
Play. Okay, let me do it. All right, let's see.
Yeah, I thought you said I was going to play.
He celebrates 31 months of membership. Him calling it they about to be sold.
Could be.
Ooh.
Could be. Ooh. Definitely prime themselves for sale.
Be interesting. Okay, but
you like
usually
apples?
then
Anybody like apples around here?
Like apples? Yeah, I love apples. Apples. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be interesting. All right, pushing that aside. Look, Asha usually reads the room pretty well. And if she's seeing this, she's been handed a ridiculously awesome opportunity. And they have this very interesting disc to digital program, which makes physical ownership actually more interesting because it gives you the best of both worlds. You can have the physical disc, throw it in, say I want to have my digital entitlement. As long as you don't give that disc to somebody else, you continue to have the digital entitlement. And the second you give that disc to somebody else, your digital entitlement goes with it. Very cool. So basically, you can buy from the secondhand market. You can buy brand new physical. You can buy collector's edition and still get all the benefits of digital, where you have Play Anywhere, you have cloud access, all that stuff, right? But you can have it with physical now. So it actually makes it more interesting to have physical on Xbox. The question is, will they continue to support it? Right? You might be right, Mav, in that, or that even I think WebDev, you were saying the future might have been like this is the path they were going to go to as well with Xbox. But who cares where they were going? Just like the PS4, when the Xbox One announcement happened and all digital, whatever, right? And the PS4 announcement was going to happen. They said, oh, let's just delay that. And then they just basically did erase all the stuff we had. And we're going to do a bullet point of everything they said, except the opposite. Right. And it's literally what they did. They basically went and they were going to have the same exact kind of thing. They undid it all and said, we're going to give you a console that lets you, keep your physical library. This is how you share a game. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If Sony could turn it around in a day, I mean, Asha, you work fast. Do the same thing. Right? Even if you are planning to try to go down the digital path, just read the room. Read the room and see what's happening. You have been given a golden opportunity to come out and say emphatically, we're not going away from physical. The best case scenario, they announce the disc to digital program along with an accessory drive that will hook up to Xbox Series S, X, and PC and allow you to access your games, your physical games. Allow you to do the disc to digital with your physical games. And it will be compatible with Helix.
Yes.
You just knock PlayStation out. You just give them a knockout blow. Even more awesome, go hire Shuhei and boys. Make a new video. This is how you share a game. But it's an Xbox game.
That would be hilarious.
Or some equivalent. They can probably work some magic with some other people, but it would be hilarious. Those two people are not working for PlayStation anymore. Wouldn't it be hilarious to have the same exact video, but swap it out and say, oh, I can't share my PlayStation game with you. Oh, but you know what I can do? I can share my Xbox game with you. Wouldn't that be hilarious? But anyway, I think they have a golden opportunity to just slam PlayStation down even further with all this. One of the things to think about beyond that is all the ancillary effects. The European market likes physical, whereas Xbox like just non-existent. The European market. Could they displace PlayStation because they will continue to offer the thing they want? Could European retailers say, we're not going to push PlayStation because they're basically telling us to F off, but Xbox is emphatically saying, no, we're going to keep supporting you. And that's the better platform to promote because it supports their business. Just think of all the little things that it could just create for them as a positive, right? And maybe the media will still continue to pander to PlayStation, but money is money. When you talk to GameStop, it's you know what, your whole secondary game market, that's going away because there's a certain PlayStation that's in FU. We're not doing that anymore. But you know what company isn't? Nintendo, because they're still doing theirs, and Xbox, because they will say they're doing theirs. They're still going to keep physical. They're going to give you a drive. They're going to keep going with the next gen, right? They could easily get a massive win. Is it financially viable? I don't even care. They're the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
They need to take this and say, "Yep, let's run with it."
Yep.
Because right now, look, you need every advantage you can get, and you've just been handed this thing on a silver platter. Why would you not take advantage of it? So I'm hoping that Asha, and she's pretty smart, can read the room and say, the backlash of PlayStation fanboys against PlayStation because they made this pretty obvious decision is not looking good. A, I don't want any of that noise on my side. And B, how do I take it to them and take their fan base and say, you can come here. Want another awesome idea? For those who have physical PlayStation games, you can work with retailers around the world and tell them, we'll fund them trading in their PlayStation games, buying an Xbox, and getting the equivalent Xbox disc.
Wow. Yeah. That would be a pretty price to pay, but you talk about
it wouldn't be as high as you think because there's value to both, right? So,
yes. Yeah.
So you would just say, hey, we'll fund any difference. Maybe it costs them $1 billion worldwide. Think of $1 billion to Microsoft. What is that? Nothing. It doesn't matter. It's nothing. Right? Could you convert 10%, 20%, 30% of the market?
That'd be crazy.
Is that worth it to them? Hell yeah, it's worth it to them.
Yeah.
So things to think about. And they have Matthew Ball, who that's what he does, right? He analyzes the market. It's like, I hope they're sitting in a conference room right now thinking about how to take advantage of this.
Yep.
Right? Last week was not the time. They had to do the reset. Fair enough. Next week, we're supposedly getting the announcement of the Disc to Digital program. And I hope it's a slam dunk that includes, here's a disc accessory. We're going to launch this November. Here, it's going to work with your Series S and your Series X and your PC and with Helix. And it just takes away the entire thing of next gen not being physical, because if it works with Helix, you've got physical drive.
Yep.
Right? So it just makes people say, oh, I want to be there. Because they're still offering me the thing I want. Right?
Yep.
I like the idea of that device, Hargeet, like, especially if you were saying it works on PC too, because there's a lot of like gamers that had converted over to PC, and you're looking at a lot of classic games that aren't available to get through PC storefronts now that you'd be able to go and access and convert digitally that way. So if you had a device like that, I think it would catch on and be pretty popular and be talked about quite a bit from a lot of the tech enthusiasts, creators, and all that other kind of stuff about a device that comes out that lets you convert your, and I'm talking about a standalone device like you're talking about that can operate and attach to your Series S or your Digital X or your PC. If it's Helix compatible, also knowing that, then that would be a great option. The other thing I am curious about, guys, is like, because I've just been really paying attention to the fallout from the PlayStation fan base, right? And I've been on two minds of this. Like I keep going back and forth on like what I think. Like it doesn't seem like they're going to move on. Every single post they keep talking about it. Like when the PS6 gets announced and they show it off and it's nice and shiny and all that kind of stuff, like that's when we're going to really know the true implications of this towards Sony. What is the reaction going to be at that point? Do they cave, and does all the conversation just get into like they're super excited for it and like they're melting in front of it because they just can't help it, or which I think some of these guys that are standing on a square right now will probably flip, or is there enough people that are still pissed off and does it become that Xbox One moment for them that ruins the launch of a generation? Like, which way will that go? And that's going to be the biggest thing, right? Like, how does it affect their next their next generation of gamers and hype around their next hardware. I just want to know what you guys think about that. Do you think they're going to move on, or do you think there's actually going to be fallout from this?
I don't know, because I think Sony has made the decision, not PlayStation. I don't know how that's gonna, play out. If Sony is in a position of saying we don't care, we think you'll still buy, which is what they've said, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know that they change course, even if Microsoft keeps offering it, if Xbox keeps offering it. If they see a massive shift in market share, then they have to respond, right? There's no way around it. And then they'd have to do what Xbox did and reverse course, right? And say, oh, no, we will offer physical. Here's an accessory drive. The problem is it might be too late, right? If they've put out the PS6 already and there's no port for it to handle an accessory drive, what do? Is it viable to just connect it USB? I don't know, right? So they have to kind of figure out what to do there. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, that's going to be the problem. Now, a lot of things in PlayStation Land tend to be more hardware based. Microsoft does things more software based, but they do have some hardware things in there as well. I don't know if they don't make the decision early on, that it wouldn't be a headache for them later. They could obviously just release a different console, right? They could just say, hey, here's the PS6, I don't know, Elite, and it has the drive, right?
Right.
And so you have to buy a PS6 Elite, and it will have, a disk drive. Fair enough. That's still an option, and for those who want it, they can go buy it. So again, it's possible.
I'm
that
just
they can
curious if
reverse
the
course
fans
afterward.
move on past the anger, right? Like, because this is, if you reverse time, right? Going back to what you're talking about earlier, Hargeet,
Yeah.
360 to Xbox One, most of the industry thought Xbox was going to just take off and explode. And however, the whole transition was horribly handled by Xbox with marketing, with not understanding how to promote this whole idea of the disc DRM thing. They were fumbling all the questions from media. Everybody got outraged. You had this level of outrage that you're seeing today from the gamers, right, towards PlayStation, but towards Xbox. And that dramatically affected the momentum that Xbox had, to where they, the partners started doing more deals with PlayStation and all these other kind of things. The PlayStation had the cheaper price and all that other kind of stuff. But you can go back even further. The PS3 generation, the 360 generation, at the beginning of that launch, we saw that same energy that we're seeing today from Sony, where they got cocky. They got ahead of themselves. We're going to have a crazy expensive console, and we're going to tell people they can get a second job to buy it, right? And that dramatically affected them at the beginning of that generation, right? So is this enough to actually affect Sony in their market share and the excitement from the fans, or do the fans move on? That's what I want to know.
It all comes down to how well Asha and team put together Xbox's reset, right? If they can showcase that, hey, they've got games, which they do, by the way, they have games. They've got exclusives now. They've got an ecosystem that works to give you ability to play on handhelds from anybody except Switch. Well, no, even Switch, because they put games on Switch, but I don't know how many they're going to do there. But at least most of the handhelds that are PC based, to their own hardware. They're going to offer a piece of hardware that allows you to access your Steam library and your Epic library, etc. I mean, they can just put on all these capabilities and say, well, here's ours. Come on over, right? And what they have to handle is price competitiveness. It can't be hundreds more than their competitor. They have to kind of make that work, and then give an option like, hey, that you can buy physical, still get all the benefits of digital with our program. We have this play anywhere capability where you buy a game once and you have entitlement of both PC and console. the things that they can just keep adding on as enticements, as long as they can say that, look, we're healthy, we're capable of offering something that you guys want, it's an option. And they need to make that available in the market to the point where people are happy to buy it. The problem they have is all the uphill momentum, or the downhill, or whatever you want to call it, but the media constantly putting out this message that Xbox is dead. That has to be overcome, right? But like, one of the things, like, if they do this, if they do it right, I'm wondering if the media changes their tune, because they can also see like the winds are blowing in a different direction right now, and people are pissed at PlayStation, and like the media has to respond to their customer base and also respond in kind, right? And at some point, because hasn't this already happened where people who have been commenting on, hey, this is probably not a great decision, you should probably reconsider this, whenever they post on a PlayStation post, that they've been banned from getting PlayStation content?
Well, they've been at least kicked off their site. They've been banned from posting. I don't think.
They've been muted on the YouTube streams, Twitch.
So I don't like. I don't know if this is a great path to go down with that. So like, at some point, those people are also going to say, well, screw you, Sony, if you're going to keep doing that to me, if you're not going to take like even the slightest level of just normal criticism,
right?
They're not like pounding you or anything, just saying, hey, this might not have been the greatest idea, maybe you should reconsider this. That's not a bad statement to make, right? Like, that's just a simple opinion statement. It's not like, F you, Sony, you're a piece of crap or anything. It's just like, no, hey, this may be not the greatest idea. That's a fair criticism, right? People have opinions. If you're going to start banning them for that, like, that's terrible. Like, you have to allow people to have some level of reaction to your posts, right? So, and they're going into overdrive and stopping people from being able to post like that. That's stupid. Now, what if they also blacklist them from getting game reviews because they're petty like that? Is that going to change the media's mind and say, wait, we can't say anything? Like, really? So, at some point, I think that might switch, and I'm hoping that happens. And again, it's up to them to work it on the Xbox side as well. But so far, she's done a pretty good job. I've got to say, this I thought this was going to be the big rake step when they did this, shutting down studios. She didn't. She somehow managed to miraculously keep them all alive. That's as good as it gets. I don't think I've ever heard that. I don't think I've ever heard the downsizing and all of the studios are still alive. Wow. Like, I just,
do y'all think that
happened?
Do you think there's been meetings between Asha and the teams there about how to react to this PlayStation down, like, news?
Oh, sure.
Now? Yeah,
I would be shocked if they didn't.
They didn't.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
Me too. Like, I mean, it's got to be like, okay, because it's like an opportunity. You don't get these opportunities very often.
Well, it's not even opportunity, Mav. They could have been, like you guys were saying, they could have been going down the same path. And it's like, you don't want this noise. You don't want any of this negativity. You're trying to get forge your path back, right? You want to get back in their good graces. You don't want this energy, right? So even if you had planned to say this, scrap those plans. Do not say that you're going digital, right? And find a way to placate them. And I'm open to ideas where, like, if you want physical, you have to pay higher. Fine. It's a compromise. It sucks. I don't like it. But if you have to pay 75 instead of 70 to get the physical version, fine. Right? Come up with options.
Yep.
Put something out there that works where people still have the opportunity to do what they want. Right? So we'll see what they do. But it would be very, very odd if they weren't talking about this. They have to be talking about this because it's a massive industry reaction.
Yep.
So
I agree. Let me play this super chat real quick. Plus, there's a couple of comments that I want to bring up that I thought were really good in the chat, and then I've got to play a clip for Hargeet and for Mav. of that infamous we share games thing. It's actually been altered, Hargeet, through a massive.
I think I saw this with somebody's video. I don't know. It's Alex.
But we're gonna play. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. Let's do this. Here we go.
Go back to DVD and just use a gutted Blu-ray reader.
There we go. I get what you're saying. But who knows? It's thanks for the super chat. We appreciate that. There was another comment too that was pretty good. It was here it is. Here, this one. Read that one, if you don't mind.
Yeah, nobody is ready for Asha. She is the most unpredictable leader MS has had yet. She a monster you don't want to F with. Just ask Seamus B and Shaun Layden. Yeah, she did kind of like and in a very nice way.
Yes.
Reach out to them when they commented about her and said, hey, you know what? Like, let's talk. Tell me what I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually awesome for a leader to do. Right?
Yes.
Because that it just rounds them out, right? Instead of just egotistically just saying, nope, I know the answer. It's like, no, listen to feedback. Like, let's let more people talk, get more information. Why not?
There's a reason why she got to where she is, and why she's becoming this mega star in CEO land. I think Microsoft probably is lucky to have her. Let's play this clip real quick. This AI rendered, reimagining, up to dated version of this.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
PlayStation.
That was actually the wrong one.
That was the original.
That was the original. Yeah, let me see if I can find the other one, which was actually really funny because he basically takes the game disc and throws it away, and the other guy cusses him out, which is even more funny. Let me see if I can find it.
I put another link in there in our chat,
Dave,
Dave, of not the same video, but this one is of Jack Tretton at E3 talking about this and the crowd response to the physical games thing.
Oh yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Let me play this.
Yeah, which was like bullet point 1. Xbox said this, we're saying that.
Yeah.
Bullet point 2. Xbox said this, we're saying that.
This was even bigger than that. This is how you share games.
Library of new titles on PlayStation 4. We're equally focused on delivering what gamers want most, without imposing restrictions or devaluing their PS4 purchases. For instance, PlayStation 4 won't impose any new restrictions on the use of PS4 gamers.
Supports used games.
Yes, that's a good thing.
Not anymore.
We believe in the model that people embrace today with PlayStation 3 and continue to demand. Just heard you there. When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever.
For now. Wait till the news we give you in 13 years. We have a plan. Eat it up, bitches.
In addition, PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play. Or for any type of authentication. If you enjoy playing single-player games offline, PS4 won't require you to check in online periodically.
What a moment in time.
And it won't stop working if you haven't authenticated within 24 hours.
Yeah. And all we got to say about that is the current reaction from Sony fanboys.
Oh, fuck!
Yeah, rake step. There we go. Alrighty then. So yeah. Guys, it's been a great show. Hargeet, is there anything else that you want to touch base on? We've for about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Plus, we started a little late due to my medical issue. So, anything else you want to touch on, or we want to go and wrap things up? It's been a great show for sure.
Yeah. So the only thing left, I think, was the Toys for Bob stuff. And then Pal World, which, I mean, they're smaller things. We could mention that.
I do have
Bob.
I do have that right here.
Yeah,
you can play it if you want it, and let's go right now, which I think is pretty awesome. I'll let you read the top part, and then I'll actually play the clip.
Yeah. So from Isle Sloth, Toys for Bob are keen to work with Xbox on a Banjo-Kazooie game. It's a franchise we love. As platformer fans, Banjo's top of the heap. We have some huge fans of that franchise on our staff. I'm talking, they've got the Jiggy as their profile pic. Kind of, sorry, you scrolled too far. Yeah, sorry. Kind of a thing. They're that level of fan. If the opportunity ever arose, that would be amazing. We love the franchise. If you look at the through line of the types of games we like to make, I could imagine that's part of that staple as well. I think of those characters as timeless. They're iconic. And I think the types of games we want to produce are ones that speak to a timeless place in the player as well, an ageless place. We call it the inner child. So I think they're wonderful games. We're huge fans.
We have to ask this or else the comments are going to get mad. Has Banjo-Kazooie ever been talked about over at Toys for Bob?
How frequently, you mean?
Of course. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a franchise we love. Again, as platformers, as platformer fans, Banjo's top of the heap. We have some huge fans of that franchise on our staff. I'm talking, they've got the Jiggy as their profile pic kind of a thing. They're that level of fan. So if the opportunity ever arose, that'd be amazing. But we love the franchise.
If you look at the through line of the types of games that we like to make, I can imagine that that's part of that staple as well. Like those characters, I think you described as nostalgic. I think that's one way of looking at it. I think of them as timeless.
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah, they're iconic. And I think there's the types of games that we want to produce are ones that speak to a timeless place in the player as well, an ageless place, right?
Yeah.
We call it the inner child, right?
Yeah.
So I think they're wonderful games. We're huge fans.
Your thoughts, guys? Who'd like to go first?
Mav, go ahead.
We have to ask this or else the comments are going to get mad.
Boom. Pause.
Shut up, Tim.
Dash.
Hey, it'd be cool. I mean, it'd be happy for Mr. Boomstick if it happens.
Yeah.
I would like to play one. I'm not going to hold my breath. This could be them putting out there that, hey, we're on this interview show. Xbox, are you listening? I don't know. They got Spyro coming next year, so looking forward to giving that a go.
Yeah.
We'll see. I wouldn't hold my breath, but it would be cool. I think more games like that are fine. I don't know if it necessarily have the same audience that it did back then, but it'd be worth a shot. So
Agreed. Hargeet, the video when they showed Spyro, the individual video, the few through the roof of how people wanted to watch that clip because of the nostalgia for that game. Seems like a no-brainer. Your thought?
I just want to make sure that Asha's in this reset mode, and I don't know that it's going to sell a lot. That's my problem. And so if we can, solidify Spyro, it comes out pretty well. It does well. Okay, cool. Like that video certainly blew up, right? It had lots and lots of millions and millions upon millions of views.
Mm-hmm.
If that translates into critical and financial success, right? Or engagement success, however you want to look at it. Good. But this is not the same, vision that we had with Phil, right? Where he would have probably just said, yep, Banjo next, let's go, right? I think Asha's going to take a more tempered look at it and say, all right, how much did Banjo sell? Well, it never did massive numbers, but it's like a beloved game. She said beloved games don't necessarily matter, right? So we have to be careful with that, right? So I don't know. And actually, it wasn't beloved. It wasn't her. It was Carmack. I think it was Carmack, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen his message about id, where he said games can be beloved, but that doesn't mean that they're actually financially viable, right? That they bring the return needed. And so beloved isn't enough. And unfortunately, that's where I think this game is. And so if we can actually show that there is a viable path for it to be reasonably budgeted and also give enough engagement to make it make sense, fair enough. That's where my head goes immediately, right? It's like Asha is looking at, I want big games. As much as we might like to think of it that way, but Banjo is not a big game. It's just not. And so we have to look at that reality. If they can budget it down, right? That doesn't mean you can't make a good game. Look at Astro, right? Astro was game of the year. Small budget. Core team worked on it, got it done. If Toys for Bob can do something similar, small budget, give you a very good modern look at Banjo, fair enough, right? So maybe you take it as let's like reboot it. Let's try to bring in the first installment in a modern format, right? Okay, let's see what that is, right? And if it's not a lot of investment, maybe it's worth trying. That's my hesitation with it, because again, if this was Phil, I would expected, sure, let's go. But we're not under that anymore. So with that model, you have to now think of it from Asha's perspective. Will that happen? I don't know. I really don't know. I think she'll do a wait and see. How did Spyro do? From there, we'll see what's next, right? So I'm hoping that Spyro does really well. I hope they do make another Banjo. That'd be great. But that's going to be the dependency here. It's going to be based on metrics.
I mean, they got their YouTube trailer on their own channel. The Spyro the Dragon channel had 16 million views, which is insane. So maybe this does hit. And if it does, like you said, Hargeet, if it hits like that, then they'll probably be coming to them being like, all right, what else do you guys want to make? And
flat, right? It's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, but it could just be like make another Spyro.
Right. But if it manages to sell like 2 million copies, and the budget was reasonable, I think they say, sure, okay, let's look at something in that same budget range, and let's see if we can make a Banjo happen. Fair enough, right? So I just, it has to have metrics. I think it's going to have to be based on metrics and what it does, right? So, but we'll see. But to your point, Matt, maybe they just say, well, that worked. What about a sequel?
Right. Like, what is the better odds of us getting a Spyro 2 or a Banjo, or maybe both?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So, yeah.
There you go.
That's my thoughts. Yeah.
Well, guys, been a great show. Thank you all so much, Mav. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we got to most of the main topics, and I think we covered things in great detail. Hargeet, really am glad that you're back, and also glad that your family was safe and everything got turned out okay on that. So, like I said, big prayers to everybody on the road to recovery there. So that's awesome. It's awesome to hear that the things are going good. So yeah, and yeah, guys, if you get a chance, hit the like button. We appreciate that. As Dirt would say,
if you like this video, please hit the like button.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah. So guys, thanks again for joining us, and we are going to I'm not going to pass it off to anybody tonight. I don't think anybody else is streaming right now. Mav, please tell everybody where they can reach out to you, where they can find you, and what do you got coming up next? Another Mav rant coming on the way? Well, you never know, right?
Wow, I don't know, man. I've been streaming quite a bit more on some more earlier streams and doing more Mavcasts. So you can catch me probably on one of those. I never know 100% when they're coming, but Mondays are usually filled with news. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see me pop up tomorrow. Just stay tuned. If you go check out Fun Speculation on YouTube or follow on Twitter or join the Discord or something, you'll be able to find out before I go live. Other than that, our usual podcast is Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the Fun Speculation Podcast. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. Appreciate the invite as always, Dave, Hargeet. Great talking with you too, man. And some awesome discussions. And yeah, can't wait to see you again I'm sure we'll do this again sometime. So
I hope so soon. It's always great having you on, and I mean that. And also it was a big shout out to Pong Soul, who was actually with you earlier the week. That was actually a really cool episode too. It was nice having him on.
Yeah, it started a new show actually. I forgot to mention that. So,
real quick.
Yeah, it's remember when you started, Dave? You did just like the one-on-one interview shows and stuff like that. Well, I'm kind of doing something similar to that, but it's not necessarily interviews. It's going to be like me and one guest, and like podcast style. And we'll just talk about whatever the topics, but there'll just be me and one guest randomly from the YouTube or gaming industry or whatever, and gonna do that. And Pong was the first guest, so I need to have both of you on at some point there. It's called Fun One-on-One, so you can look forward to future episodes coming of that, and they'll be kind of pop up because I'm gonna make them according to whatever schedule works for people.
Nice.
So,
I like that. And that's cool. And thank you for letting us know about it. I know I'd love to be on it, and Hargeet would be an awesome guest to have on. So as we all know, I think so. Exactly. Hargeet, please tell everybody where to reach out to you, where to find you, and if you want to go ahead and put those QR codes up in the corner for people to books and stuff. We got those up there that you can put those links in there. Plus, Mav's links are in the description as well, too, folks. Whether you listen later audio or it's there right now in this video.
Yeah, so my channel is Hargeet Chani 1. If you want to check that out, the QR code's up. My merch store, if you want to pick up my stuff, it's up there. It's shop.chani.us, but there's the QR code as well. Yeah, and I'll I don't know, I think might be on with C Money. I'll see if my schedule works for it because he's going on vacation, but he's doing another one tomorrow. And so we'll see if I can join him tomorrow evening. And then I'll be on with Fonz on Tuesday, with Boom on Wednesday, and no C Money and Doodle show on Friday for the next couple of Fridays because they'll be out on vacation. So we won't be doing that. And then we'll be back on Sunday, and we'll discuss hopefully this digital program where Asha comes out and slaps up PlayStation and tells them how to do things. But yeah.
Exactly. Guys, and thank you all so much to people in the chat and all the gift memberships that got given tonight. All the people that gave them, thank you all so much for doing that. I was also see Money in the chat earlier too. Thank you. I see Joey from Joey is there from Weebly Green, and it was good seeing you. The Kraken was in the house. I like that. And they're gonna have a big show tomorrow. I guarantee it. It's going to be big. The aftermath and all the kind of stuff that they have to go through. Plus, hopefully, they'll get some dropping news that morning. You just never know. Gaming is getting exciting again in more ways than one, and it's not always at the detriment of Xbox. So we'll see how things go in the future. But guys, thank you all so much for joining us here on the Gamers Council. See ya.
Game over. Alright, now lose it. Go crazy.